thank you for giving you tons of money for 18 months. Let's go, Manifold. Hope you are doing good. JackManifold's love 2-0. My fave loser streamer Twitch Unity. AO 6 months. Good luck, have fun. Hopefully you can win this MCC manifold. PP Poa Poa. One whole year with Mr. Baldman.
Hello! Oh my god, I didn't turn on my camera. Wow, I'm such a professional.
Can't wait to see you win this MCC.
Hello! Hello! Welcome to the stream. How is everybody doing? I hope you are all doing well. Guys, thank you so much for all the subs coming through. I greatly appreciate it. It is. MCC is today. It is the Underdogs MCC, which means all the losers who have never won an MCC, myself included, are now all in one big event where we'll see who the king of the losers is and who the biggest loser of them all is. Tonight's biggest loser, however, shall not be me. I am on a team with the great James Marriott. It's his first MCC, and he's been training. He's been trained by the great sensei Philza, right? He's been trained by Philza. And I've been training too. I've been training very hard. In fact, training so hard. In fact, I actually have a training injury. My wrist. I can't tell if does it look swollen.
Winning the MCC with only the losers.
Not
as
really.
well.
That kind of. It hurts a lot.
Manifold, Pog. Have a good stream, Jack.
Thank you so much. I feel Manifold Pog
months.
today. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Tubbo raid.
16
I
months.
love Tubbo. Mwah. I would kiss Tubbo on the lips. Guys, I love Tubbo. Thank you, Tubbo Raiders. Welcome. Thank you so much. Guys. It's Losers MCC.
07.
I'm glad to know the Tubbo support is here. The support of Tubbo is what I need in this life, this great life. Anyway. Yeah, I will be playing in this MCC. The problem is I have actually injured my wrist. I genuinely, my wrist, I don't know if you can quite tell, it's a little bit swollen. It really hurts to move like that. I don't know why the fucking did that. Thank you for the subs coming through, by the way. I will thank some individuals in a second. But, guys, because thank you for all the follows coming through, by the way. Holy shit, thank you, Tubbo Raiders. If you are new, it is appreciated. And guys, now seems like a better time than I need to interrupt myself very quickly and say, guys, exclamation point U2's in the chat. This little plush based on my most popular video where I go fishing and a duck interrupts me fishing is on sale now. And all my proceeds go to the Sarcoma Foundation. So if you would like to help me give to charity, please pick up one of these or this little figurine of me fishing. You can buy them now. That's all I'm going to say. Exclamation point U2's in the chat. You'll get a link. It's very cool. U2s.com. Anyway, guys, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. We are going to win this fucking MCC. But guys, as I've said, I have an injury. A terrible injury. An awful injury. But a man like me adapts. He overcomes. We're going to rework. You know, it doesn't matter. I have this. I will be playing this MCC using an Xbox controller. Why? Admittedly, I've realized I forgot to map the controls. I'm going to quickly map the controls while we talk. I'm going to be playing on a controller because I really hurt my wrist and I can't use it very well. So, the only thing to do, logically... Let me just map the controls really quick. Mouse. Right. Okay. But yeah, you're gonna break it. No. Throwing. I'm not throwing. I'm a talented... I grew up playing Minecraft on the Xbox 360. This is gonna put me back in my element, alright? 2 seconds. We just need to... Oh. Wait, which one is this? Okay, hold on. And then this, and then we just need to map that to that. Okay, we've got that, and then I just need to be able to jump with that. That opens the inventory. Oh, and then the right shoulder does that, and the left shoulder should do that. And the right shoulder should do that. No. Hold on. Guys, I've mapped the controls. Save as. Minecraft. Okay. This should work, hopefully. Okay. Guys! As you can see... I can play Minecraft with this. So, let's try some MCC practice. I stole your hair. No, you didn't. I shaved it off. Oh, Well, my controls are wrong. Hold on. Wait, that is right. What? What? Why is that making me crouch? Why am I crouching? Why am I crouching sometimes? Oh, I've made a mistake. I know what I did wrong. Hold on. Ah! No, you can't look at that. I did that wrong. None for now. Hold on. What would be like? I need to know. Like, I need. This is not good. How do I map a button for like when you click it in? I need to like click. You know when you click in the stick. You know when you click in the stick. You know what I'm talking about? You know when you click in the stick on the controller and it sprints like in Minecraft for the Xbox? I don't know how to do that. Oh, here we go. Right stick, click. Right stick is that one. That should be that. And then left stick, click should be that. That should work better now. It's working! Yes! Okay, I maybe need to turn up the sensitivity a little bit because this is... It's a little bit low. It's a little bit low. Shit, I forgot to map that. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay. Wait. Is that it? Is that... Okay, cool. It's my inventory. Okay. Okay, let's maybe just turn the... How do I turn up my sensitivity? It needs to be higher. Mouse settings, sensitivity. High. Okay, that's a little bit too high. Never mind, we'll go back in. Like there. That feels like a good level. Let's give this a go. Alright, I may have got these the wrong way around. Oh, that feels awful. Oh, that's really hard. Okay. Guys, this is fine. It will be easy. It will be easy. It's going to 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 be easy. Look how good I am gaming. Look how goodly I'm gaming. Guys! We're going to be okay. Anyway, let me thank some subs. Let me thank some subs before we get into this. Thank you to Holly's Story for the Prime. I appreciate it. Who else are we going to thank? Who else are we going to thank? Who else are we going to thank? Well, I can't find where we are in the list. We've had a lot of subs there. Thank you so much.
Loser less than 3.
Well, I've lost wherever we are on the sub list, but I'm going to go from the top. Will Soup, thank you for the tier 1. R. Kessie, thank you for the Prime. Rory's Comment, thank you for the 12 months. Sunset Truna, thank you for the tier 1. Kelsey, thank you for the 13 months of tier 1. My favorite loser, I appreciate that. Because Celery. Because Celery, thank you for the 2 months. Natalie Noodle, thank you for the 10. Katie, thank you for the 10. Appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys. Okay. Maybe, should I try using my fucking hand? Should I try using my wrist? It just might hurt me, and I'm like really worried. I can't damage myself.
Today, Mr. Manifold,
I'm looking
Manifold
extra
Pop.
bald or extra long, did you say? The mouse is now too sensitive, though. Don't dislocate it. I just was gaming too hard earlier, training for MCC with James Marriott, as I always do. I mean, not usually with James Marriott, but, you know, training really hard for MCC, which I do.
Streaming is making me feel
Oh, you know what? I actually need to address
3
something.
months.
Thank you. I appreciate the 3 months. I need to address something. Guys, yesterday, I uploaded my first YouTube video in a little while. I uploaded...
Can't wait to see you win, Manifold Chad.
I appreciate that. I really, really do. I uploaded a brand new YouTube video called I Met YouTubers in Real Life, in which I meet YouTubers in real life, as well as meeting my fans, as well as doing many other things. But in said video, at the timestamp 3 minutes 13, something horrific has happened. And I just want to say,
15 months, that's crazy.
I just want to say,
wait for you to win today.
Guys. Something in that list stands out, alright? Something in that list stands out. And I'll hold my hands in the air, and I'll hold them in the air. And I will say, that shit is not me. I do not edit my own videos. I had the editor gather the browser footage used to make this little scene here. The editor gathered that footage. I did not gather that footage. It's a great video, and I don't like that all the comments and the tweets about it are all pertaining to my porn watching habits that aren't real. I would never watch that stuff, and if I did, it would be better than that. I wouldn't be on season 11 either. I'd like to think my life isn't quite that sad. It wasn't Wheatskins, I don't believe. It was new editor
Please
Scott.
try not to lose, or I will be very sad.
I'll try my best, so for you. Also, Cherry Bomb will thank you for 5 gifted. Either way, it wasn't me, guys. Everyone, many losers and haters are going to claim that I watched that video and I didn't watch it. I couldn't even tell you what happens. Ask me what happens. Give me a quiz. Give me a test. I couldn't do it. If I was to watch that video, frankly, I'd be disturbed. I'd be disgusted. I'd think it was awful. I would never do anything like that. I would throw up. I would vomit. I would vomit all over the floor if that ever happened to me. So, just so you know that, I would throw up on the floor if you ever wish to do that. Just so you know. Anyway, that's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. The captions, Lamau. Oh, is there captions on the stream now? I enabled captions. Do they work? I don't know if they work yet. I haven't really fucked around with them. Boom, 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 boom. They're off a bit. Yeah, I tried making them good, but I don't know if they work. I mean, they are live captions on a stream. It is kind of hard, to be fair. But anyway, oh, thank you for 69 subs today already. Holy shit. Really appreciate that. Anyway, sorry, what should we practice? What is in this? I haven't watched the update video. Let's watch the update video. I always forget to do this. That's the wrong screen. Let's watch the update video. Guys, I love updates to the game Minecraft. Let's watch the update video. We've got 5 minutes till the event. Let's watch it.
AYUP Jack, I got your U2s.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it.
Hello and welcome to the official MCC 27 update video.
Got very excited there.
It's a positively special one.
It sure is, Scott, because not only is it MCC's 3rd birthday, but it's also MCC Underdogs.
Last year we gave our brightest stars a chance to shine in our MCC All-Stars event, filled to the brim of winners from MCC's past. And this year we've rounded up the players who are yet to...
Fucking using that video of Amy is that's fucked. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Jack, you got this. Partying face, partying face.
Fuck you! Ow! Oh, I forgot about the wrist.
From MCC's past. And this year, we've rounded up the players who are yet to snatch that win and are giving them a chance at getting their hands on
That's me, bro! Me! They has used me! Damn, bro!
Elusive.
Fuck off. Me sat there like, oh, they did Amesy dirty. They did Amesy real dirty with that one. Me?
And are giving them a chance at getting their hands on the elusive MCC coin. And crowned forever as the underiest of dogs.
Was this really my 12th loss?
Our K9 lineup includes both past participants and newcomers. So even if your regular favorite
me
is sitting this one out, there are plenty
Scott
of cool
isn't
people
in this one.
to tune into.
I'm very
which, of
cool.
course, you can find all the contestants on MCC.live.
Me. James Marriott. I love James Marriott. Me. You should watch me. But then, you know, I mean, support James.
Will
but
be a
watch me.
half-canon event, meaning
4
we
months,
won't
yeah,
count the
let's do
stats
Chaos
and
Team.
records, but our winners will be given an MCC coin to bury in
Yes!
the backyard. There's going to be some ferocious competition this time around.
In other event news, we're turning this one into a party to celebrate MCC's 3rd birthday.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
For the festivities, we've added anniversary decorations all across the hub and in our
Nice.
games. Dotted around, you'll find bunches of balloons, piles of confetti, and cake.
I can't believe MCC's been going for 3 years. I've only been streaming for like... Oh, also 3 years. Shit, I was like, damn, I've been streaming. I started streaming in December of 2019. I didn't realize. I've been doing it full time for 2 though.
Happy 6 months.
Not
Jack.
only is our hub
Less than
in
3
celebration
currently
mode,
working at
our
Starbucks,
game
and I
roster
want to make a Jack Manifold drink. What would be in it?
The
want
Jack
you to
Manifold
design
drink
it.
would have coffee, a little bit of chocolate. It would also be like
This
like
is
a
way
mocha.
better than uni work.
And then it would, you know, some cinnamon. I would like that. Maybe some caramel syrup. And then sweat from betwixt the toes of beautiful goth women.
is 2.
Please,
We're bringing
please
back
make
some
that drink.
classic
Ship it to
maps
my house,
and
please.
games from MCC's history. Think of it as us showing you baby pictures while we celebrate.
On top of that, opening this event is a brand new
14
parkour
months
tag map
excited
in
to
a
see
brand
Yay,
new
new parkour
arena.
tag!
This stadium was originally built for something called basketball, but we've converted it into Parkour Tag's awesome new home.
The new map Obelisk
Winner
has plenty
pod.
of duking opportunities for
Thank you.
outsmarting
I
your
believe that
opponent,
too.
So stay light-footed
127%
and fooling the
chance,
runner with
baby.
your wits is the way to win. Oh, and it has an ominous obelisk, but like, of course.
Don't be
Obelisk!
too worried about the new map though, as the new arena now allows you to jump down and run around before the
Oh,
game.
that's
so
fun.
you
That's
can
a
get
really-
a feel for
that's
how
clever.
it's going to play out. And unfortunately, jumping down won't help you find out what on earth the obelisk actually is.
And that's everything for this update.
Thank you all for watching.
So what's in this one? What is actually in this MCC? What I didn't, bruh. What I'm stupid. Twitter. I want to go on Twitter. What is actually in this event? Do we know what games are in this one? Because I'll be honest, I don't.
I'm finally employed again, so that mean I can sub finally, yay.
What's in this one? Ace Race, Battle Box, Grid Runners, to get to the other side, Parkour Tag. Oh, okay. Games I like. I'm going to practice Ace Race for a bit then. We got a couple of minutes. We have no minutes. Never mind. We absolutely have no minutes to practice. I was very wrong. Let's go join my team. Where are they? Hello, the Yaks.
The Jacks, the yellow Jacks.
That's me, that's me, that's me!
Hold
Sorry,
on,
I got
guys.
too excited.
I haven't done my skin yet.
Hello.
Please put your skin on, James. It's best when you
I
wear
found
it.
20 months moment.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, James.
I have my default ass skin and like my default ass username. I don't even named RT on this. Should be fine.
It'll be all good.
Big grand. How's it going, lads? It's good to see you.
I'm good, thank you, man. How are you?
I'm good, yeah? I'm
Yeah.
a good one. I'm excited.
I'll be back in a minute, guys. I have some chat talking to do.
Oh,
He's gone.
yeah, there he goes.
I'm concerned about, I don't know what we're doing for Sands of Time, but other than that, I'm excited.
I mean, Sands of Time, you kind of just it's my dash for it, ain't it? Like it's fun. I like Sands of Time a lot.
I've got an Xbox
I haven't played it
controller
yet.
plugged in as a backup because I hurt my wrist.
Oh God, love you.
Doing what?
Doing what? I wish not to indulge in.
Oh.
Do you
That's
check?
some- that's
Have you
some
read Twitter
premium
today?
Spicy content there. You're gonna have to wait like a month to see on YouTube. We gotta sit tight now.
I think that one's going on a different platform.
Yeah, I'm
Who's
Oh,
gonna
I've got-
be? Who's gonna be the keeper? Who's a keeper? Are you a keeper?
If we do Sans,
If we do Sands,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
probably with it being James's first event, maybe worth putting him there. But also, I don't know. I'm trying to work it out because I know I was made keeper my first event, but I almost then forgot to put the sand in the thing.
Wow.
But I was told distinctly it would pop up in chat when it was nearly running out of sand, and it doesn't. So that was, I blame other people.
Oh Jesus! I think I did like the sand keeping duty the first time too, but I'm happy enough just running it. Like I actually kind of love this one.
I hate sand.
I'm good. I haven't played it.
I brought.
I love Sands of Time. It's actually just so fun. It's like, you know the TV show Jungle Run.
Nope.
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, you never saw Jungle Run? Oh,
Well, what
that was
happens
like a
in the
classic game
jungle?
show. Like basically, it's like a game show where it's a bunch of contestants. They have to get these little monkeys by solving puzzles, and they're like hidden all over the place.
Wait. Now that sounds familiar. Jungle Run.
Yeah, you surely you saw it.
I did see Jungle Run. I used to love that
Yeah.
shit. They had a big like golden monkey, and there was a ruby one.
Yeah, the massive ones at the end, and like you see like the kids like fucking struggling to just lift it out. It's like, no, please, like I just want to win my new Xbox. Like,
Well, no. Also, they just got trapped inside a temple if they lost. Do you remember that?
they did, yeah. Like the temple doors just seal, and like
They just sealed, and those children die. I
They
really,
don't escape the set.
you know, CBBC had the show Trapped, and I really wanted to go on as a kid, but then
Trapped.
the problem was I was slightly afraid that if I went on, I would get trapped. And the idea of being trapped forever was slightly too much for me. So I never went on. But I really wanted to for a little while. But then I thought about the prospect of getting trapped forever and thought, no. It's best.
Oh,
It's best I stay
God
free.
love you. You're just like thinking about like, no, I don't want to be stuck in the tower.
It's
Like,
not
please,
worth it.
I
It's
wanna
not worth
make
the
it home.
risk. Just for a little bit of fame on CBBC. You know what I mean? There's other things. And that's why I became a Twitch streamer.
If you think about it that way, like the amount of children that just like perished on those like CBBC game shows, like even fucking Raven, where you blast them with magic and stuff if they fail.
Yeah.
like-
I always thought that was a bit weird. He just like does evil spells on children. So
He
odd.
does, yeah, like he kills them. Like it's actually quite morbid.
It's a terrible, terrible world. Especially when magic's involved. Magic users famously, and this is true, famously do evil things.
It's true. Oh god. What's wrong with Irish game shows? No, these are the English game shows. Like they don't really...
That's true.
So like our Irish game show, we had, oh, what was it called? There was this one on TG Caher where it's like you had this big magical box and you answered weird trivia questions by going back in time and like random shit. Like, it was really awful. We didn't have many like
I'm not
original
sold on the
Irish
idea.
programs.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that existed somehow. Like much.
Oh wait.
Much
Well,
like
I mean,
specifically
Irish TV is just a different beast. Like we had one good thing called the Den. The Den was great, and like the Den and like basically Den I think even inspired like a lot of what CBBC did. I think we did that first. I think that's like our claim to fame.
What, the Den?
Like the idea of it's like the idea of like the children's television hours, but it's hosted in this larger show. Like I think we were one of the first ones to do that.
Oh, cool.
And we had like Dustin the Turkey and like Saki and like a bunch of puppets.
I remember Hacker. He was the best puppet.
Oh, he's like the little terrier, ain't he? He's like laughing.
Yeah, he's like a dog or something.
What are these shows you talk?
He has a TikTok nowadays. That's all I really care about. He makes funny little videos.
That's a bit weird thinking about it. Yeah, he's moved up in the world.
Yeah, he moved up. He used to host a TV show, and now he has TikTok. So you can imagine he really
social media superstar. That
exactly. He's doing much
the
better these
dog.
days. Television is a dying medium. TikTok will live forever.
Oh Jesus.
Wait, am I the only one on this team who's won the Revolutionary War, or is
What?
everyone here from the UK?
Oh Jesus. Okay. No.
Oh, careful now. I'm from Ireland, right? You know, it's so nice if you say I'm from the UK.
They were about to start a conflict about Ireland, and I thought, no, I won't get involved. How are you, chat? I'm gonna talk to you guys for a second. Won the Revolutionary War. Won the fucking These Nuts War. Be quiet, man. Yep, I said it. Losers MCC, but oh, you won the war. Why are you in Losers MCC then? And that's what I'm saying. What was I going to say to you, chat? Oh, something really made me laugh during that conversation. I can't remember what it was. Oh, how awkward it got after I said, famously, magic users are very evil. They do evil things. I just kind of made up a lie, And everyone just kind of went, okay. I like that. That amused me. Can you show your skin? Of course, it is this. I'm yellow. Where is James does mining? We're just waiting around. Who are we waiting on? Oh, because it's fucking Ludwig. Jesus. Ludwig. Bro, if you do not get your ass on Minecraft now, I will shout like really loud, man, and it will hurt your ears. I warned him. He's been given warning. He's been given a warning, guys. I think he's gonna be here now. I think Ludwig should be here any second. My guess is he's here any second.
HRU.
He'll be here any second. He's about to get here. Don't worry, guys. He'll be here. Hit the Luddy. I have sent him a strongly worded DM. Oh, he made it. Oh, he made it. I was about to go join his VC and scream at him. Thank you, Jack. It's okay. Sometimes I have to take the reins to get shit done. Stuff in this world, this crazy world, does not get done lest I intervene. That's a good sentence. It's a very good sentence from me. I'm back now.
Very aggressive.
I'm not aggressive. I'm just ready to win.
Hey, Jim.
You know what?
Hi, back. I'm Dad. It's good to have you here.
Nice.
Hey.
That was worth a clap. That was a good joke. Worth a clap.
Thank
I
you.
have four people in my room. I have like a team of cheerleaders.
James, are you playing left-handed? Truly?
Yeah, I'm playing this entire tournament left-handed.
James? So, funny story.
Yep.
I may also have to do... I really injured my right wrist. And I'm struggling to use the mouse.
He said he's really injured his right wrist.
Yeah, please don't check Twitter trending today.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah. Either way,
Very
I've
confusing
genuinely...
context here.
I've really injured my wrist. Unrelated.
What?
I've injured my wrist. Unrelated, man.
Please stop making this much noise in my ear, guys. Sorry, my cheerleaders are being so noisy.
No, you're grand. You're grand.
James, just use violence.
Yeah, I will. It's coming to that point. All right, I'm gonna go and shot an entire can of Coke before we begin. I need to be on my best game.
Why are you a minion?
Oh yeah, you know, get a few Red Bulls in and that now. Like, it's the time for it. You want to be like out of your mind come this Minecraft tournament.
I often get really drunk before these.
Manifold.
Honestly, that's
Win
good
so you can be
preparation. I
winner
kind
of
of
a
like.
loser.
It makes me gooder at the game.
About it.
Jack, you ever heard of incognito?
What do you mean?
You know, like on the browser, you know, incognito mode.
Why would I need that?
Oh, you know, just cause.
Jesus.
No reason.
There's no reason I would
For
need
checking
that.
Twitter. For checking Twitter.
For checking Twitter?
That way your wrist won't break.
I don't know how a browser tab would save my wrists. My
don't know, maybe-
poor
He's
feeble
good there.
wrists.
We're gearing up in 30 seconds.
Wait.
We're almost good to go. Are you ready?
I'm about as ready as I will be.
Aside.
You know, given my wrist.
Play with your damn toes. I don't care what you do. You got to be ready.
I've got a controller
I'll
plugged
play
in.
with
You
your
know,
toes if you don't.
I'll switch if I need.
Oh, I'm excited. It's been so long. Here we go, gang.
Yay! Wee! I made it.
The decision, though. Oh, I've missed this. It's been a long while since I played. Haven't been here since like about a year now for MCC. I'm excited for this one.
I'm glad, man. I'm pretty
it's like
hyped.
different skill level.
I want us to start a chant.
Okay.
Repeat after me. This is my moment.
That sounds like we're all fighting with each other if we all say it at once. Like, it's my moment. No, it's my moment.
Okay, what game do we want first? Oh my god, we're actually doing it.
Oh, what we got?
James, it sounds like you're kicking your feet and smiling cutely.
Yeah. My legs are curling.
Yeah. Are we getting out build markers?
Joe, let me tell you, Joe. My toes are so curled they're digging into the carpet. Just out of excitement, pure excitement.
What do we do in the? What's this game?
This game, throw eggs. Throw eggs.
Yes.
Throw eggs. The game. Jim, throw an egg. Quick now, throw an egg, James.
The big sales at build mark.
Are we just getting it out of the way? Is that the logic? All right, come on.
I love Logic. He makes good rapping.
I hate build map, but like, just get it done.
Unless you got something else.
James, why do you have captive women who are screaming?
I did a bit. I had a big can of Coke, and then I was like in pain from the gas, and it all came out while I was trying to speak. It was not very pretty.
It doesn't sound it.
Question, but we'll take
You
it.
scared the hose.
There'll be no noise in this room as soon as the games begin. I can only apologize.
That's okay. That's okay, man.
Jesus.
He's doing
Who needs
coke. Yeah, he
context
did
anyway?
coke before this.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
To get, oh, I
This
like
one's
this
really
one.
easy.
He's having a wild night out in the town. Jesus Christ.
You know, James Marriott's known for his wild nights out in the town.
Okay, I'm here, boys. I'm back. I've returned.
He's had every drug in preparation for Minecraft tonight.
Why is my
This
screen
is an
doing
Elytra one. You have to use an Elytra for this, by the way, James.
He knows what that is.
Oh, is this
James, do you
version
know
of
what that
Out
is?
the Other Side?
That's
This
the
is blocks.
That's the angel wings, right?
Yeah, he knows.
What?
How do you use it?
Heard it.
Press
What? What do
space
you mean?
while
You
you're
don't
in the
test it?
sky,
Yeah.
and then
didn't
you will be
test it?
gliding.
Get a bit of a nice running start with it too, if you can.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a
It'll be
nice
fine.
one.
Oh, well, I'll work it out.
James.
Yeah, this is the other to get to the other side. I always remember like the one where you build the blocks. So it's like everyone punches each other.
It will be that after this, I promise.
Has everyone done their stretching?
What? What?
Their
I'm warmed up.
It's important. Yeah, warm up. Warm up the thingy.
I can't
some
move my
jumping
wrist,
jacks.
James. It hurts so much.
Oh god, I'm gonna burp again.
Let's go for it.
How can it hurt so much when it felt so good earlier?
Oh, true.
Jesus Christ.
He's talking about the coke. I think he's talking about the burping. I think he's talking about the burping.
Yeah, the cock or the coke.
The coke's working its way through a system now.
Imagine I win this.
I think you will, James. I
He's
actually
had the
believe
sneaky
you.
sugar. He's prepared.
I believe in
Okay, you
you.
have to press space. Once you get
Space.
down there, yeah. Once you're in the air, you press space.
Okay, space. The
Let's
bar.
go, gang.
Yes.
Oh god, if I burp and mess up my flight pattern.
How do you burp very aggressively with your arms? Like what? Why would it like throw you off?
No, genuinely, I've never felt pain like this.
While you're flying, press F2 for a speed boost. You can press F2 to do speed boost.
F2 to do speed boosts, okay.
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
How long do we have to finish this map?
2 minutes, I think.
2 minutes, okay. 2 minutes to
go,
fly
gang.
something light.
That's light, James. That's light.
you go.
Light work for a man like you. You can do this in 30
One's
seconds.
for filter!
Oh god, it's been a while.
This is easy.
No, I can't see shit. There's so many people in front of me.
This is for filter.
James, you're doing well. Okay, it was not for filter, James. I was about to tell you you're doing well, and then you fell off.
No! No!
Phil's-
Oh, I got so far and then I collided with something. Try it again. Oh, I was doing so well. I could see the end.
Hey, don't worry,
Oh my
man.
god, no, no, no!
No.
Who just fucking drowned?
Can you remove the tap?
I didn't land on the.
I'll take it. 16th. I'll take it.
That's
that.
really good, Jack. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, James. Hey, man, I believe in you, man. Hey, never change. Hey, James, let me give you a bit of advice. While you're flying, make sure not to hit obstacles. You'll die.
I'm sinking. I'm sinking, but
James,
I think
can I say something to you?
Yeah.
Hey, James. Hey, you're a swell guy, James.
Oh my god! Oh my god, I did it!
James hit one of the people, punched him in the face.
Woohoo! You and Jack now have both finished.
James, did you just punch someone in real life?
Yes!
Oh, come on. I was close
James,
to the end. I could see
James,
it.
I feel like I heard the sounds of violence.
Oh.
James,
Okay, can I be honest? I practiced this one all day. That's
Good.
all I practiced.
good, James. This one is the only one that counts. The one that comes first is the most worth the points. As they famously say in MCC.
I don't think that's true, but...
Okay, what do I do on this one?
Run.
Same thing.
Get to the other side.
Okay.
Get to the other side. Try and bounce on the slime if you can.
Okay.
I made a mistake. I fucked it up.
Wait, how do people
Watch out
get
for
up?
the...
How do you get back up if you fall?
Wood.
You have to go back.
Oh, there's like steps. I see it.
Oh my god, people keep hitting me!
Hit them,
they'll
James!
start doing
Hit the
that.
people again!
You fight back. You
Oh
punch
my
them in
god,
the
I'm
face.
actually throwing.
James, you're not throwing. Don't worry. You're just throwing hands and shapes.
Okay, this is easy. This is light. This is
They're
light.
punching me.
I'm not coming
They're punching me. I'm gonna
I kind of
follow
fell
the
off. I kind of
complaints
fell off. I fell off. I fell off!
now. Oh, I see ya.
Oh my god, no.
Just keep going. Keep going.
You're
I'm
almost there,
literally
James.
shaking. I'm shaking.
Did I
Lol,
punch
troll.
someone at the end?
34.
Come
not
on,
great.
come
Not great.
on.
Not great. Not great. Not great. Loki
Come on,
fell off,
James.
but that's okay.
Come on, James. You're doing good.
Hey, Jim!
This isn't our
I
strong
didn't
one,
come
remember?
last.
You didn't come last.
This isn't our strong one, so we're just trying to get this out of the way more than anything. You know?
Hey, we're trying to get it out of the way. Okay.
Yeah, like this is just like suffering, but then we're gonna like fucking dominate them in like
Exactly.
the second round.
That's what I've always said. That's what I've always said, famously.
I'm going to have some. Okay, wait. Oh,
I like adding famously to the end of things. It makes it sound like it's something that's like already pre-established, and it isn't. I mean, like famously, I say that. I don't say that. I'm lying, man. I sometimes just tell lies.
Building shit.
Is this the target thing where you like jump on the target thing?
the chat on the bottom left.
This is the
How
one
do
where
I
you
do-
fought. Did my game crash?
Oh no!
Oh no!
My game crashed. What the fuck?
Which one's this one?
They paused it. They paused it.
Funks.
What? Why did the game crash?
Turn it back on.
You're on speaker, you're on speaker, you're on speaker.
Okay, hello.
Hey, James
No!
Marriott,
Yeah.
please fucking make your UI smaller.
How do I do that?
Cannot see. You
I'm
wait,
sure-
after tell me. Wait, I'm gonna watch you
3
finish
minutes.
this, and then I'll tell you how to do it. Right?
Okay, thank you, Will. Thank you, Wilbur.
Do the thing.
Wilbur's here, everyone.
Wait,
I
are you
can't
okay?
fucking
Press
crash.
escape. Go to video settings.
I'm trying
James,
to rejoin.
you should
I don't
hit
know why it
Alt
crashed.
and F4. James, hit Control,
They're giving
Alt,
you-
and
they're giving you
delete.
3 minutes.
Oh my god, what is this?
Why did it
GUI
crash?
scaling. GUI scaling. Auto. It change it from to auto to smaller. Make it small. Small. No, that's big. You mean okay? There we go.
I can't hear anything in the background.
Hit apply.
I'm back. I'm back.
We're ready. We made it. Well done, RT. You got here. You
Yeah,
turned
sorry
game.
about it. It literally just crashed on me, like when we started.
It's okay. You'll be okay.
Do it low. Low.
This tech support sound kind of mean. Yeah, he's low-key like a dickhead.
Come on.
Oh no!
You can just jump most of this. What? No.
Oh, you can't make that jump. That is not a jump you can make. It appears to be a jump you can make. I can assure you it is not.
Face on my screen.
Oh, you can. No, you can make that jump.
Okay, you can't make that jump. You definitely can't
What
make
have
the
I
jump
done?
I just tried to make.
Okay, we're good. We're good. How's it going, Velvet?
7th.
Fuck off!
I'll take it. I'll take it. 9th. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Good job. Good job.
We're getting points.
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, man. Hey, guys.
You're close, James. Oh, that's what you do, James. You just punch everyone off. Every kill is 1 point, James.
Dude, just hit them all.
James, just kill people. James, start hitting and killing. James, John Wick. You ever seen the movie
Most
John
kills
Wick?
is-
You're him,
Like,
James.
don't even focus getting to the end. Just make the experience like miserable for everyone else, and like that's
Get
enough.
most kills.
That's what you want to
Why
do.
am I bad, bro? I'm. Oh.
You gotta get the highest body count.
Hey, most kills is an extra 500 coins. Just so you know, James.
Wait, is it actually?
That was rude, man. I'm sorry.
I was okay. It's been a while. Like that sounds like it'd be a genuine
Jesus
thing.
Christ, that was terrible.
I
Sure, you made it.
I
You
have
made
to
it.
mute because my UI is so small. I can't see shit.
That's
Why don't you
alright,
make it that
that's
small?
You don't need UI.
Wilbur told me to do it.
I made some friends.
Make it a
in
little
Colorado,
bit
so
smaller.
I named TSGO.
Don't mind him. He's just messing with you. He's doing
Okay,
the
yeah,
troll.
the guy fuck. Everyone, Wilbur Sir Al, it couldn't stop me anyway. We're at 8th.
5 months gone.
Calm down, man. It's
Well,
just Lego. It's
James.
just Lego.
He's so right. It's just Lego. This is Lego in real life.
There's no need to
What's this
scream.
one?
There's no need to scream. It's all
Okay.
it's all good,
Okay,
man. It's
thank
all
you,
good.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
I need
just
to calm
calm.
down. You're right, you're right. I'm gonna meditate between
Positive
between this and
vibes.
the next game.
Positive vibes.
You dickhead. Positive vibes, though.
Okay, I'm just gonna follow the good person.
Peace and love.
Oh my god, I got trapped.
No!
Yeah. Oh, Ludwig. Yes.
You just hit Elwig.
How tall do they make these
Ah!
things? It's okay, most of the bridges are built at this point.
No, it's okay. It's
Woo!
okay.
Thank you to whoever hit me. You got me across.
It might have been me.
Appreciate it.
Fine. This is fine. This is fine.
It's not fine,
My
James.
phone is ringing. Oh my
That's
god,
pretty
it's
good.
Tommy.
That's pretty good.
Come on, James, you're right there.
Come on, you
Oh
can
my
make
God.
it.
You're right there.
Come
What's
on,
up
just
behind
make the leap.
Jump, jump,
Got
jump.
it.
Good man now. That's my son. Go on now.
He's your son. That's
Calm and
crazy,
collect
man.
it. Calm and collect it. You're doing
I'll be
great.
collected. Sorry, if my vibes have been off, guys, I apologize.
No,
Hey, James, you always have great vibes, James. That's the one thing I always say about you. I just always
It's
go, his
lovely
vibes are so good.
You seem to be saying a lot of stuff now, Jack.
I say a lot of things.
34. You're popping off, Jack. You're jacking off. Woohoo! Good job, Jack.
I'm jacking off!
You're jacking off!
Low hanging fruit there. Jesus.
I like the lowest hanging fruit. It's the easiest to grab, you know?
Oh, Jesus.
12 months.
Oh, yeah.
Like comedy. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Come on
Yeah.
now. Calm and collect it, alright? You just gotta
Alright, yeah.
keep composure, right?
Tommy just called me to shit talk me. That's
Don't mind
That's
him.
deserved,
Don't mind
bro.
him. He's a wee bollock sometimes.
He is a little bollock. I've always said that.
right. I'm following Rambu. Rambu seems to know what he's doing here. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm just
I've been
following
assisted.
a chain of people who seem to know what they're doing
Oh,
in
shit.
comparison to me.
who's hitting me? Who's hitting me?
Oh, that was not a doable jump. I thought it was.
Oh, I fell
Oh my god, I'm unbelievable.
Alright.
Okay. Thank you, Jack.
God, this is a long one.
Yeah, it really
Oh.
is.
I made a lot.
Wait
Of,
for
I made
us,
a
Sid.
mistake. Well, come on now, bro. For real?
Oh,
Oh my
come
god, there's
on.
so many
It
people.
just
There are
keeps
so many
going.
people.
That's a fucking sprint.
Oh. Jesus Christ. All right, 12. That's not bad.
You're right there, James.
Oh.
Right above you, above you,
Ah, fucking-
above you, above you.
Hidden.
Right there, right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, where are they? Oh, God, you
They're,
gotta hit him in
they're
there.
caged. They're caged,
Right there.
Artie.
Oh, fuck.
Nice.
There you go. I didn't see you.
did
I was
it.
trying to get over it.
We
I
won.
would've
We
got
won,
someone
guys.
sooner.
We're in first now, guys.
We're in first.
We're in
Yep.
first.
We're in
No,
first
we're
now,
not,
guys.
But we'd like to think we are. Mentally, you know, we're prepared.
Hey, guys, we're not last.
It's pretty good.
Just putting that out there.
That was our worst round
Oh.
too. That's our worst one out of the way now. Everything else we're gonna come first in instantly. You're gonna see
That's
it now.
very true. That's very true.
Like our
I-
game plan from here
I've
on
been
out is
saying
we
that.
just win instantly. Like you know,
is this
it's
one of
easy.
your? Is this one of your guys' stronger ones?
No.
Fucking terrible at this one.
We're just trying to throw everyone else off by making us look
so bad at this one.
Where's Awesome Dude? He's asking.
I'm gonna
for
go
it.
crazy in this one. I'm gonna go wild in this one.
Okay, I found Awesome
You've never
Dude.
seen
I'm gonna
abilities
punch
like
him right
this.
at the
Okay, everyone's just punching. I'll just steer clear of Mo. No, you bastard!
Oh my god.
Fuck off!
Absolute gobshite there.
It's fine.
Oh.
No, there's a gap. I'm panicking. I'm sorry for a lesson. I'm trying to.
Don't panicking. Don't panicking. You're fine.
No, I am panicking. Just, I'm gonna lose.
Burn it. Same.
I won. I lied. I was
Me
not
for a
gonna
lesson
lose.
got very horribly stuck, unfortunately.
I'm just gonna go and
I
beat
got
up.
top 10. I got
Wait.
top 10. I went crazy.
Well done, man. I'm currently at the beginning of the map.
Hey man,
You
you,
got
tried
this,
your
James.
hardest. That's all that matters. Know that, James.
Okay, got to you.
Know that in your
Take the
soul,
points.
James. You tried your hardest, man, and hey, that matters a lot in this world.
Yeah, you're doing
Okay,
great.
no, this
Hey,
could be
James, in
worse.
this
This could be-
world, there's people that
this could be
try,
worse.
and there's people that don't try, and James, you're a person that tries.
How profound.
What I've noticed is that I've not come last in any of them yet.
James, and that's because you're a person that tries, James.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying, James.
And I just want to say that I'm glad that I've been surrounded by such a positive, free-thinking team.
I think freely,
You're very
sometimes too
welcome,
freely.
mate.
Sometimes I have thoughts I shouldn't have.
It's lovely to be playing with you, James. It's a good time. It's
You
chill.
too, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, top 5 players this game.
It's not us, but
Me,
that's okay.
me. Don't worry, guys. We
Oh,
did
this
so
is-
well.
Oh, Philza warned me about Fire Breath Man.
Who?
Fire,
Fire
Breath,
Breath?
Man?
Who is that?
Is that a person?
Just run.
Oh,
If
I
you
was
see
the
Fire
fourth
Breath
best in
Man,
our
just
team?
run the other way.
Look at that. We got to 600 there. That's our worst one, though. Now the multipliers start coming in.
All right.
Yeah, now it becomes multiplayer.
I would like the stream to say... Oh, wait, sorry. I need to learn how to mute. My bad.
You're
And
all
he's
right.
gone now. He's gone now. We're never gonna get him back.
Let me just hurdle some abuse at my...
Anyway, I'm gonna speak to my chat now. Hey, my chat, how you doing? James 4th best. He did do the 4th best on our team. That's pretty magic. That's pretty magic. That's magical. We need to support James the best we can. Chat, what's a chant we can start for James Marriott? We should start a chant for James to encourage him because this is his first MCC. You could be like, James Marriott, we love you. James Marriott, we love you. Even though you smell of poo. James Marriott. Jack. What's wrong, Dan TDM? I would never do mean things to you. So your angry face shocks me. You have betrayed me. I need to assess what's wrong with Dan TDM.
Good luck, King, you'll win.
Dan, your claims of betrayal disturb me.
You scared the life out of me.
Dan, why would you be scared of me? Why would you be angry with me?
I was so close to finishing and you just punched me off the edge.
I don't believe that, Dan TDM. Dan TDM,
Nah,
let me tell you,
video
when I
proof.
was 10 years
Video
old,
proof.
sat at my aunt's house, bored, I'd stick on a Dan TDM mod review video and I'd watch mods and go, if only I understood how to download these, but alas, I didn't. All I had was
So why
you
would
playing
you do
them.
this to me?
Well, that's why I wouldn't, Dan. I'd never do that.
You're sure.
I'm pretty sure. Also, hi, everyone else. Sorry, I really feel like I came in here and just addressed Dan. I feel like that's unfair. Hi, Gumi. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a great event. I hope you...
Body meow meow.
I hope you do really well. Maybe not as well as me, but like you know, probably second is good.
Yep.
Yeah, well, now I'm gonna go back to my team where I'm gonna scheme and plot. Goodbye.
Okay, have fun with that.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm having a great time.
Yep.
I don't know what else we're bad at. Or
Build Mart's honestly quite hard, especially if you haven't done it before.
Yeah, build sharp more like. That's what I'm saying.
Parkour tag is a real fun one. That's a fucking laughter.
James liked my poo joke.
It sounds like he's sneezing horrifically or something. Like he's actually in pain.
We'll never know.
I honestly quite like parkour tag. I'm gonna cast a chicken there.
Yeah, I like parkour tag.
Parkour tag's nice.
Oh, I threw my chicken here. I didn't mean to do it, but I caught a button.
He's just along for the ride now.
Yeah,
It's
you know
okay.
what? He's just here, man.
Looks like
We can punch him out. He might.
Maybe.
Grid runners.
Maybe if we all punch him.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hello.
How's it going?
I was just working out a toggle to mute option so I can not annoy you.
James Marriott, Dan TDM hates me now, and it hurts my feelings.
Woo! Dan TDM!
No, he was my favorite when I was a kid, and now he's mad at me. And I tried to convince him that I wouldn't do evil things to him, but he doesn't seem convinced. Why?
Oh, Jesus, the battle box.
No, we're great at battling. James is the best PvPer I've ever fought against.
Okay, no, in fairness, I've been trained how to PvP.
Oh, shoot.
Great, okay.
Let's have a look-see now.
Well?
This is just combat arena. You fight.
I'm going to need someone to just take complete charge of me here. And tell me where to go, what to do.
That's our usual dynamic, James.
I mean, at the start of the round, basically, there's 4 power-ups, and we all get to pick one, basically. It'll give us a bit of an edge. Okay. Outside of that, just, like, take a few pot shots with your bow.
Okay.
And we just kind of have to call positions more than anything. It's kind of like what you want to do.
Yeah, imagine it's a game of CSGO, James.
I've never played that, but I will...
James, imagine it's a game of
so try imagine
Valorant,
it, then. That's perfect.
If
you haven't played it, you have to imagine it.
That's a very good point.
That
makes a very good point. Or you could just boot up CSGO and then you wouldn't even have to imagine it. You'd play it.
It's like, yeah, James, you have a second monitor right now. Quickly, like there's a bit of time.
Load up CSGO.
Load up CSGO, analyze the gameplay, then proceed to mimic it into Minecraft.
We'll see you back here in 4 hours.
Antfrost said bow spam to win.
Bow spam. Okay.
Antfrost
the bow is really good.
Don't trust that guy.
When does this begin?
We have to fight every team in this, I believe.
To be honest, I kind of wanted like Red to defend him, but he didn't, and now I just like kind of called out Antfrost for literally no reason, and now I feel bad. So I just actively feel quite bad. So I really expected, you know, to start a little like a humorous little argument, you know, a little bit of banter, and that didn't happen. That did not happen. That did not happen. Where's the little duck gone? Where's the duck gone? Oh, he's down here. I wanted to sit on my shoulder for this. Everyone was 100 subs today, by the way. Evie Evan, thank you for the 14 months. Stronghold Cat Gaming, thank you for the raid. Europort, thank you for the 9 months. And we can just sit here under my arm. What are we going for, men?
Take the sword and charge the enemy.
Alright, well then I'm left with the bow.
Well,
let's go.
Skill issue.
What's that?
Okay, so just try and call positions as you see them.
They're all going to the left. Literally all of them on the left.
Okay, I'm like zipping around.
Get pinged.
As fast as I can.
Damn! Damn!
Okay. Oh, they just instantly cracked down on me. Good luck, gang.
Peek.
They just turned around to get me. I hope you got the
no, they're going for the wall.
I got 80!
That's nice.
James,
that's nice.
you're incredible. James!
Watch out for Rambo. He's almost
James! Kill people! Kill Valkyrie!
Yeah,
kill Valkyrie!
James, come on!
James!
Come on, James. Just
watch out
for James. Oh, we're done for.
Well, now I'm a little bit disappointed, I won't lie.
It's a valiant effort. Valiant effort.
Valorant effort.
That's another game for the homework there, James. Yeah, you want to play Valorant as well. Add to the pile. Don't worry, we'll get all the background reading done. Ah, God. Okay, blue bats. Who's on blue bats?
Do you not know?
Niju, Awesome, Elena, and Punk. Okay.
We should be okay.
We should be alright. I'm gonna try and be a bit sneakier and use the bow for a bit first.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and oh wait, it's not AIMSy anymore.
Well, yeah, no, you can't kill AIMSy every round, James.
So it's different teams every time then, I guess.
That's your plan, just get this one person.
They're all on the right, literally everyone on the right.
We're gonna have a miserable time. They're on the right. Oh, just take pot shots there. Okay, I'm gonna try and get around.
Oh my god, they're good.
They're approaching.
No, they're not, James. They're not, James. They're nowhere near as good as you.
They're good.
Who is gooder? James, you are gooder. Where the fuck are they? Jesus Christ! I got so confused.
Oh, I got a bit of damage on him there.
Oh, I think we got game ended. I think we got beat. I'll be honest, I think we got beat.
We got beat a bit there.
Guys, I think we lost, guys.
Next time.
Nah, yeah, but next time we got
again,
them.
but we'll get
It's because I'm not playing on the controller. I need to use the controller. My wrist hurts too much. My aim will be much better if I use the controller.
I should do that then.
We
We're
are
not 10th.
That's what I'm doing.
We beat Pink Parrots. We secure 9th. That's all I'm saying.
Oh. Hold on.
We can get it.
It's the only combat that matters.
Probably should turn it
No,
down.
this is our second worst game mode too, so you know we're just getting out of the way early.
Yeah, getting
Yeah,
out
we
of the
just
way.
get
We
out
can climb.
This is our second worst one.
This is like Miley
We're gonna like
Cyrus's
the
The
first
Climb.
one. And all the others.
Yep.
Right. Okay, who we got this time?
Oh shoot.
Oh, I need to take the sword. Hang on.
Yeah, you should do that.
Oh, wait. Is this the one with
This
fire
is gonna
breath
be
man
good.
on it?
He breathes fire. They're going to the right now. Well, they're right.
Oh, I was out in the open. Fuck.
Oh my god. Oh wait, there's one in the middle hitting me. Oh my god, I'm done. Oh!
All right, my aim
I'm
isn't the best.
trying.
I won't lie. My aim isn't great right now.
Watch out. Careful, Jack.
Shots like you now.
Oh my god, there's like 2 of them on me there.
Well,
on the left,
that went really well.
Good luck, gang.
Guys, I landed
luck.
2 shots. That's pretty
We
good.
took him out.
High ratio of shots. They call me the shot taker.
Sure, we're good. We're good.
We're good.
We're doing great.
All those.
We're winning
all
the
those
mental
shots
battle.
and shooting off.
Yeah, this is all about mind games. When
That's
we come
the
up
thing.
against,
We're gonna psych them out. They're
Like,
gonna
when we come-
underestimate us.
like, red rabbits are gonna come up against us and go, yellow yaks, they're ninth, and then boom.
Exactly,
And
and
then
that's when
boom!
we get them. That's when we get them.
We
The
win.
archery's not working for me. I'm gonna try the stone sword if that's all right.
Oh, I just took it. I'm so sorry.
Absolutely
Try it
fine.
next round. Try it next round. I'm so
Yep.
sorry.
It's okay. I think, yeah, I guess I'll just try and be a bit more tactile with my bow.
Hey,
All right, let's
that's
go.
what I've always said to you, James. You're just not tactile enough.
I don't even know what that insinuates.
Insinuates his tactility is low. It should be higher.
I'm not gonna question it. Oh, there's one in
my
the middle.
God.
Watch out there. Watch out. There's one on their own on the right. You can get him.
One up here, Jack. Jack,
Come on,
Yeah, I know.
James.
Ow.
I think they're gonna go. No, they're not going for a rush. I keep thinking they're gonna go.
Oh god, they got me in the middle.
Oh my god, I got one.
Get him, get him. Go on, you're doing great.
Oh, okay. I got a bunch of them
it's a
really low.
twofer. It's a twofer. Come on.
Oh, darn
Oh
it.
no. Come on, James.
Get us
James,
out.
they're low. James, they're
James,
Drop
it's up to you.
close, yeah.
James, they're trying to win. You gotta kill Joey. You gotta kill him.
Go for the middle. Go over the middle. Okay, behind you,
Behind
James.
you,
Behind you. Behind you. Oh no.
It's fine.
James, you're crazy. You're crazy, James.
James, no.
They call him Crazy James for a reason.
Oh, he
got a
almost
kill.
got him. He almost
Oh
got
my
him.
gosh. I just
Did
broke my
amazing
own
there,
leg
James.
Hey,
watching that.
there's a reason we call you Crazy James. Crazy James.
Guys, I
was
feel like I'm
insane.
letting the team down. I need some hyping up.
No. You got it, Crazy James.
You don't need any hype. You're already wonderful.
Okay,
Get
That
that
was
sword
crazy,
now for
James.
yourself.
James, I broke my wrist during that while watching you.
while
so
watching
that
me because it was
insane.
that crazy.
And my wrist
yeah, I
is
was
already
just like,
damaged.
whoa.
Take
Oh
the
my
potion.
Guys, I'll be honest, there is a rather large gulf between us and 8th.
That's okay. We're gonna catch up. We're gonna get him.
Okay, I believe it.
I believe
I
it.
think it's really between us and the pink parents.
2 each side.
Yeah, it's 2 each side. They're just trying to take pot shots on us. Oh, okay. There's one in the middle. Middle on the right. Woo.
I'm going in.
Watch out. Go, James. Go, James. I'm covering you.
Yeah, just trying to scare him in the middle there. But I don't think it's a good time to go middle.
Damn it! What the fuck?
Oh, I see him.
Careful.
Watch out, behind you.
I got some down. I didn't actually. I tried.
Got one. Woo.
Oh, T, you can do this. You can do this. I believe in you. I believe in you.
No, don't die.
My belief in you is high.
Oh my god.
Oh, I got 2 of them, but not enough. Not enough.
Minecraft! Minecraft!
I got 2.
Minecraft!
Come on.
Minecraft! Minecraft! Wait, they've won. They've won if you don't destroy those purple blocks. They win. No,
Do I need to
Wait.
do this to win?
Oh my god.
Wait, what? We lost? No.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, they changed
serious
that.
right
So when
now?
They have the wool. They win.
Are you serious right now?
That's actually quite different to what I remember. That's really unfortunate.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah, they have more blocks. I thought it was before if you just kill them all. That's it.
I was so hyped.
I will do the block placing.
I mean, it makes sense, I guess, but
we just place the blocks and like block off a corridor? Is that like a viable strat?
If I'm completely honest, I had no idea that was what we had to do.
I might just like. No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
No, you
could
can't,
only
man.
put it in the capture arena.
Okay, okay.
Ow.
Oh, I'm getting one. They're injured.
RT, watch out. Shit.
Oh, Hannah's really low. You can get her. She's on 4. Let's take a swing.
All right, someone needs to get into the middle.
Oh, come on, behind you. Oh, nice.
Okay.
I got one.
Okay, G's really low. G's only on 4. G's only on 4.
Behind you, Jack.
You can take the shot. They're both like so badly injured.
Placing, placing.
That's one. Just try and get a few in. Hannah's gonna try and distract you.
Run the wall.
Okay, run, 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 run. You need to get at least a few blocks. They got some red ones in the middle.
Damn it!
No!
Couldn't fucking sprint.
Cheeky buggers. Oh, I don't like that rule. I don't like that one.
We're getting shafted by this.
We're winning the combat, but we don't get any blocks down.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and be a bit of a martyr early on.
James?
Because I've been...
I would not recommend the Marriott.
I've always said you're my madre.
That's not... That's... Yep.
Jack just had the worst time, and I'm so glad this stream happened less than 3.
We need to get to the... What the fuck was that? We need to get to the middle soon.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we need to get there quicker, I think. Next time we'll go a bit quicker.
Okay, I mean, they're just waiting to take that shot there.
Yeah, I'm getting... Someone should go to the middle who isn't, like, I'm low. If I get hit, I'm dead.
Careful, James. There's a bunch right there.
Yeah, I got 2
I
in.
got them in the middle.
If you can try and place all of them, do it.
Shot 1.
Okay, we have 2 blocks. If you can just keep them busy for like the next
We can do it, we can
few
do it.
minutes,
It's
we can
easy.
win.
They're not approaching at all.
Shit, what the fuck?
Careful, Velvet. Careful, Velvet.
Oh, I'm running. James, behind you. James, behind you.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, just keep that middle
Kill
locked
them!
down.
Kill them, James! James!
Don't let him
James!
out. Nicely done, nicely
James!
done. There's only one left.
This is ours.
Just chase them. They have to try and get to that middle, but they're not gonna.
James!
We got it. We got the round.
James!
Nicely done, gang. Nicely
Well
done.
man.
Minecraft!
We got one.
James.
Toast Bowl, thank you for the 14 months. We just had the worst time. Oh, I apologize, but I'm glad you're here, and thank you for 3 months heat.
We got 2 rounds. We got 2 rounds to take on the fucking... Okay, we're not far from them. If we can get a big victory here...
We can actually
Winner's
get
point of view. The
Pink beat
underdogs
blue.
of the underdogs.
I love...
Because Pink beat Blue and we did not.
Guys, let's channel our inner G-Force.
Did you say channel our G-Force or Energy Force?
Our G-Force, our inner G-Force,
Okay,
like the
right.
movie with the guinea pigs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yep, that's what I'm referring to. They were great combatants.
In the middle.
I forgot that existed. I'll be honest with you, but now's the time. The bastard.
Do I try and kill Ant Venom?
Surely not.
Oh, watch out. James, watch
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
coming.
Oh, RT.
Okay, we got a few blocks there. I got some
God, I
down.
missed like every shot.
If they're kept
James,
busy
run.
enough now, we can get it.
Okay.
Oh, watch out for Abe.
Damn it!
Watch out for
Fucking
Abe.
hell.
He's a mean one.
Damn.
Oh, shoot. That's him.
Oh, they're going for the middle.
They got in the
Oh,
middle.
They got it. Oh, they got it. They got
This
it.
is not great. This is not great from us. This
Good
is
try,
not...
though. Good try. Good try.
Guys,
good
this wasn't
try.
a great performance from us, guys.
Not yet.
This is their second worst game now.
This is our second worst game. That's true. That's very true.
For now.
Okay.
Let's take that potion.
Oh yeah, I need to take the sword. Ooh.
My chat's like, we demand a recount. Like, fucking rigged, you know.
It might be.
It's rigged! It's rigged!
They've all had performance enhancing drugs. We've just had regular drugs. Like, this is
Exactly.
completely
I'm just on drugs that don't enhance my performance.
If anything, they
These are
detract from
fake
my
kills.
performance.
Wait for him to jump. How did that hit me? Oh, it's from there.
This is the most fraudulent battle box there has ever been.
Oh!
Let me tell you, folks, this is possibly the greatest battle box. We're the best team. I'm gonna get fucking killed.
Oh, he's so low. He's so low.
That sucks. That every second of that
Hopefully
sucks.
they don't notice the one block I placed. Okay, they might have noticed.
They have no idea.
It's unfortunate. They found it. Bad luck, gang. Bad luck.
Well, guys, I mean, hey, we tried our hardest.
Shit.
Hey, guys, we really tried our best.
We beat one.
We beat one of them.
We
I'll
won
take
one
that.
time. We
That
won
was a
one
win
time.
right there for the underdogs.
That was a
The
win.
most underdogs.
We are the most
They still beat
underdogs. We are the most
Sounds-
under the
it sounds
dogs.
really bad.
We're right underneath that dog.
It's like an officer is on their way now.
I don't understand, but I'm under the dogs. That's for certain.
Oh Jesus!
It's because you're under the dog, probably.
I'm under the
Breaking
dog.
your wrist, yeah.
I don't quite get it, but let me tell you, people, I'm under them dogs. And I'm
Are you
loving
breaking
it.
your wrist again?
I can't believe Yellow Yaks are in first place and winning MCC right now. You're damn right.
That's happening.
I went for some wisdom. I've come back.
All right. What did you learn?
This is not a skill issue. We are not bad. Everyone else is being cringe.
Everyone else is being cringe. Let me tell you something even further.
Oh, okay, right. That explains it.
They're not based like you, James.
That's what I'm saying.
James,
Just go-
hit us
like,
with something
imagine, like,
based.
Imagine you just go into this tournament and it's like everyone is terrible. Like God, they all suck.
James, hit me with something based, please.
I don't have any base takes.
You definitely do, James. I've heard them.
I do not.
James, I've heard the base takes. Come on, man. Don't be afraid.
If you just go into your Internet Explorer and type in the letter P,
All right, fine. I'll do that right now.
and just if you would kindly show your stream.
I'm showing my stream.
Yeah, share screen.
It's absolute. It's all in Russian. Weirdly, like all of it's in Russian.
Oh,
it's all in. Oh, I put.
What is-
I put. Oh, I'm on a Russian keyboard right now. That would be why. PayPal.
what?
Pete Davidson.
Oh, what's that there?
People that
Jack,
can't-
what's that? What's Prawn Hub? Is that like shrimps and stuff?
Where's that?
Prawn Hub.
Where is like whereabouts like is that? Because like I don't see that.
Well, that's the like shrimp stock exchange. You know, you trade there
Oh,
I
you're
love
just treating like
shrimps.
aquatics back
for
and
all your
forth?
crustaceans. You know, like
Like I'll send you my eel if you send me shrimp.
exactly. Yeah, well, you have to have an economy for that. You know,
I love shrimp, man.
they might not love you very much. if
Why
that's
would
the
they
case.
not?
The
I'm
crunchy part.
really
20 months
nice.
plus. Please don't show your search history again.
We need some more people.
Why is everyone saying like caught in 4K? There's nothing in there. It was Pete Davidson, people that can't burp, PayPal. Oh, this is cool. Dogs. Doesn't really look like a greyhound, but I like the effort. Oh, cyan corgis, blue beagles. That's a cat. That's a cat. This is not a dog. This is not a dog. What the
8
fuck
months.
is this dog?
Good luck.
Oh, it's a collie. What are you? Red Rottweilers. Damn. I like dogs.
Me personally.
Guys, they got the dogs under here. Guys, the dogs are out under here.
It's one of the side islands.
Oh, they're
Right- right
under
up
dogs.
spawn.
They're underground dogs. It's
Oh, that's I.
I just got it.
All right,
That's
what
a
do we
real
want now,
knee
guys?
slapper.
That was
do we
kind of
want?
rough.
One of them's a cat, though. Did you notice that?
Oh, that's gonna keep me going for days.
That's got me barking mad.
Can we do ace race? I
stop.
think it would raise my spirits.
Oh, yeah, I can do it. I'm down for that. I love Ace Race.
Get a good ace race in.
I love a good Ace Race.
Ah, Jesus, boy. I tell you.
I think you're voting too early. You vote later. The chickens have more room to move if you vote too early.
I trust my chicken.
All right. I mean, one of them stood completely still. The other one, now it's moving.
It's all the other chickens I don't trust.
Well done, James.
I gave him notions.
That was an excellent
It was
vote.
fine up till then.
I sense sarcasm.
No.
One
Why
of our
would there?
chickens
Why
didn't
would
make
there
it
be
again.
that?
One of our
Who
chickens
has that
didn't make it,
massive
but he's
chicken?
here. That's a cyan chicken.
I've never seen a chicken that big.
It's a huge cock. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'd like to choke that chicken.
Fucking hell.
Yes, James. You got what you wanted. And he's.
Oh, we need see. trust in the chicken. We got ace race.
We did get ace race.
My
You know
chicken
what?
was a very faithful one.
That is a faithful chicken.
Here we go.
We're gonna ace this one, gang.
Oh,
that was good.
James, do you know how to
man.
use tridents in the water?
I think he's completely deafened. He is.
Oh, okay.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's got more important business to attend to.
We can't help him anymore.
There's nothing we
Hello,
can do.
no, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, you better be. Be sorry.
I am. Okay, Ace Race Turtle Run. What's special about this one?
It's Ace Race, but the map is Turtle
Winner's
Run.
Pop?
Imagine Temple Run, if you will, but if you replace the temple with there being turtles.
So wait, is it one of those? Do I need a touchscreen for it then? If it's like.
No. Imagine the controls are completely different, but the concept of running is much the same.
Okay.
That's about the similarities, to be honest. It is just a lot of running.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Say again.
We can chase you with a pointy stick if it helps.
And Artie's right. We can do that.
We can do that. Provide some moral support. And some physical support if we get you with the stick.
It will... You know what? No, I'm alright. I'm okay.
You were going to say something there.
I don't know what I was going to say. I hadn't quite thought out the thought before I went to have it.
Thin ice, I'm watching you.
I'd never be on thin ice. Only the thickest.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. I'm hyped.
Okay, but I should be good at this one. This is a racing one.
Okay, cool.
I love the
I have some
racing
expertise here.
I believe in you, Artie.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, the Drift King and all.
That's what they used to call me back in college.
The Drift King.
Oops.
They still call me.
I hear you were quite the menace in the McDonald's car park.
Oh no. I'm just doing like fucking laps around the drive-thru. Like that's all that it was.
Oh shit, I fell off.
Like this guy, like he just ordered a Happy Meal and he just wouldn't leave.
Oh, fuck off. This is bad.
Oh, all the sand.
This is fine.
Sure, running.
God, the feet are so annoying.
What? Oh, the feet.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
I hate
got the
feet
now.
too, James. Don't even get me started, James. Hey, James, don't even ask me my opinions.
You didn't break your ankle, so I'm not surprised.
Oh, I saw this one in the last MCC.
Yeah, this one has been in the last few, James.
I think I got a sneaky shortcut there by falling in the water.
I'm not.
Oh, God almighty.
Can you hit people on this one?
I forgot there's a
I
bounce
don't
button.
think you want to, no.
What the fuck?
cannot.
Oh my god.
Oh, I was doing so well that I fell. No. Come on. Oh, there's a sliding wall. Why is
Yeah, there's a wall that moves.
Oh my god, why is this person running backwards? That's really unnerving.
Don't get trapped. Oh.
Oh my god.
What? The fuck? I didn't see you speed up.
Oh.
How the hell do you do that?
Come on.
Okay.
I'm in 36th place. How?
You're probably doing better than me.
I don't think I mucked up. This is 4 laps.
I'm
That
bad.
feels like a lot.
Don't worry, man. I'm doing all right.
4 laps is a lot for this.
Oh, that wasn't great.
Oh my god, why do I have to jump there? Someone just stopped in front of me.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a break. You know what I mean? Sometimes your legs get tired.
Or they knew I was behind them and got scared.
I mean, you're a scary man, James.
Thank
The
you.
intimidation.
Hey, I wouldn't say that to many people.
Like a shady bloke right there.
I've always said that about James Marriott. Very shady.
Just doesn't like standing in the sun.
That's true. He's very pale. James, why do you not go outside more?
I go outside so much.
No, you don't. When have I've never seen you outside.
Have you been outside, Jack?
I'm outside every day, man. I've been outside today. It's my dad's birthday. I spent it outside with my father.
Happy birthday to you, Dad.
Thank
Hope
you,
he's had a
RT.
good one.
He's probably seeing this right now. He probably thinks, hey, thanks, RTGame.
It's like, oh my god, that Irish YouTuber.
He went, I love Ireland! And then he screamed it at the top of his lungs. He's not Irish, he just kind of likes the place. And
I mean, that's fair. A lot
Yeah.
of people do.
I've never
You can't even
been.
accept a lot of people.
One day maybe I'll go.
That's good crack. I'd recommend Dublin.
Guys, I think I just moaned.
Okay, that's fine, James.
That's nice, James. Thanks for sharing that with the class now.
Can you do it a little louder next time, or?
Yeah, sorry, I will. I'll try. You telling me I have to do 2 more laps of this?
It's so long. Yeah, it's like it's 4 laps. It's actually crazy how long this is.
Oh shit.
We just got to leg it a while. We're playing this
Shit,
one
I'm
longer
making
than the
mistakes,
other
making
maps.
mistakes.
Okay, mistakes are fine. Learn from them.
I'm learning. I learned so much. Algebra. That's one of the things I learned, not today, just in the past.
This man can find X.
I can find eggs, trust me, I have plenty. That's a lie, man. I don't that was a lie. I just made a lie up.
Existential dread.
I'm doing a better time than last time.
That's fantastic, James. Keep on going now. That's my man right there. I just got 2 more laps of it. I think I've got it down, but it's just like I'm just waiting. I don't think I'm gonna be able to overtake anyone.
Shit!
Unless they like
Shit!
royally bollocks it.
I may have bollocksed as well. Don't worry, man. Sometimes bollocks, you know? And I know you
up
get
on
that.
the water. I keep messing this bit up.
Oh my god.
I can do the dolphin bit pretty well.
That's good.
I'll just open.
But I think everyone can do that well, so it doesn't count for much.
I'm cracked.
My chat's being very supportive.
That's good.
The chat
I
is still
haven't
not
even looked over at
last.
mine, but I hope they're probably all being nice to me, I would imagine.
My chat are lovely and they love me.
I believe that,
that's
James. You're a lovable guy.
Oh, thanks, Jack.
What with that
If only
face
I
and
was
all.
good at the fucking game. Ah,
Low-key, I'm kind of gaming right now, just so you know.
what place are you?
12.
That's actually really good.
Jack,
Very fucking
that's
play.
nice.
I'm doing okay right now. I like Ace Race.
I'm coming in at a very sweet 33rd right now.
You're the
I'm
sweetest 33rd I ever did
37th.
see.
I don't know how I fell so far behind. I didn't think I was doing that bad.
Yeah, it's been pretty full on.
Yeah.
Am I on the last lap? Oh, I am. That's boring.
Is this one of your favorites, Jack?
Yeah, I enjoy Ace Race. It's a controversial pick, but I just like it.
It's actually quite fun. It's like one of the staple ones too. I love all the, like, the different tracks we've got.
Yeah, I really like it. I hate that people hate on it so much.
I'm just like intensely focused. I'm trying to beat like one other person I can see. It's like we're having a 1v1. No, it's not you.
Imagine we're 1v1ing each other.
Bollocks it again.
Oh, Jack, we were right next to each other.
Yeah, you were right ahead of me.
Oh, you both done good then.
Thank you, man. James. Does my name.
Thank you.
I do so much mining. Watch my POV. It's gonna be good.
I'm watching it right now. I'm watching you, James. I believe in you, James.
Go.
All right, well that.
Battle for 37.
Go on, James. Go, James. James stocks rising right now. James stocks through the roof. Well done, James.
Invest today. You could get a good return now.
It's all on you, RT. You can do this,
in the
man.
36th. Come on.
Big leap on the turtle's head. Big gameplay from you.
Come on. Oh, I keep bollocksing it. Come
Don't let
on.
Valkyrie win. She has 100 thieves. You can't let her win this.
No, I tripped on the fucking sand.
That's all right. 100 thieves stock just went up, but that's okay. You just added to capitalism. That's fine.
Oh, Jesus.
I love the sound it makes when you jump on the turtle's heads. I'm just jumping on their heads now.
You get like the boing. It's nice. Oh, my chat's being very supportive. Thanks, lads.
Can you ask your chat to throw in a bit of support for the old Jimbo, for the old
Jimbo gaming.
Guys, please be sure to say choice words about James Marriott. Pick any words that really describe your true feelings. In all respective chats. In the whole tournament, just go in there and be like, "Hey, I think James Marriott is," and then just give your honest opinion in every single chat in the event.
I feel like that's what we need. That's the movement we need. Is it still going?
Why are people being nice? I really expected.
They're going the wrong way. They're running the
30
wrong way.
seconds left.
They're running the wrong way.
Running backwards. No. Well, okay, wait. Now they're going the right way.
That's really funny. Wait, they were running the wrong way?
Who is it?
They tried to backtrack and run backwards.
Were they trying to metagame it or like exploit it or something?
They got 20 seconds. They made it. They've got it. They got this in the bag.
Woohoo!
Very nice.
Yeah, everyone finished.
And you have to bear in mind that's our third worst game, right? So
That's
like,
our
it's only
third
gonna get
worst
better from
game.
here.
It will only get better.
I'm only gently beginning to realize that this is a bit because I thought we all really wanted that.
No, I did actually want Ace first. I thought it was better at it. It just didn't go well.
Oh, look who came first. Fucking fire breath man, huh?
Naturally.
Hey.
If you're so good, why have you never
James,
wanted
you know what? I'm going to tell you
to
something. I'm going to give you some advice. James, coming first isn't always the best thing in this life. Sometimes it's better to come last.
Yeah, you get the most pleasure out of it.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I hear.
Yeah.
Degenerates.
But what happens if we never finish?
This is
James.
the Lord's Day is tomorrow. Right?
You got a blue ball to swing before the Lord's Day?
We're not allowed to think about penis on this channel, right?
Fellas,
Whoa, no one said penis.
What if I haven't finished?
But you did. You did really, you filthy
You've never
bastard.
heard of you never heard of the second coming of Christ?
So that's what I was all about. Oh, Jesus, he's a miracle man, all right. He lasted longer than most of us gave him credit for.
Lasted long enough to make a video just for Jack.
What? I'm confused. Now I'm out of the loop. I mean, I get my wrist is injured. You know, suspicious injury. I get that, but why would Jesus Christ himself be involved?
We're all going to hell.
You don't want to see what he did with the crucifix.
Stop it.
What?
We don't need to know where the crucifix goes.
Again, I'm just.
Stop it. You're the one saying it.
I'm not saying.
No, you're leading
And
this.
have you those handholds? Oh my gosh.
We are not in last. We are not. I repeat, we are not in last.
Oh shit.
Woohoo!
Pink parrots are gonna get dunked on. We are not in last.
Let's see.
Let's get 'em.
What's our individual scores?
Where can we see that?
Go to the Hall of Fame. If you're in the main area and turn around, you can see the Hall of Fame.
Go to the famous hall, James.
It's all on the up and up from here.
Okay, I'm thinking 12th. I'm probably 12th.
That low? Really?
If I have 36th, I'll take
What
that.
are you, James?
What is it, James?
What are you, James? Drum
What number,
roll.
James?
37th!
Yes! James, that's almost the highest number you can get. I'm proud of you, man.
That's almost the highest number, yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's like the 37th highest number out of everyone.
Pretty good, that's more points. Now it's the coin multiplier. Okay, so everything we just played doesn't mean like anything. It's all fuck all worthless. Now is the real games. Now we pick the big ones.
Now we're getting, yeah.
We're gaming now.
One more? Damn it.
Hey, last to take handoff private jet keeps it.
Which one?
What do we want here, guys?
Do?
Mr. Beast uploaded. Sorry, I got distracted. I don't even watch Mr. Beast, but I saw, you know, last to take their hand off private jet wins it, and I'd love a private jet.
So sorry.
Guys, I'm picking parkour tag because I have a strat.
All right, James.
Is the strat parkour?
It's definitely gonna be grid
I think it's gonna be grid runners somehow.
It's the AFK strat. I'm gonna stand there at the beginning. One of you goes left, one of you goes right. We each get to the corners. If they come from me at any point, we start moving anti-clockwise.
Elwig.
What?
How the fuck is that work?
Anti-clockwise. Everyone is. I'm going to put in texture AFK. Okay, not yet.
20 months.
Not yet.
OMG.
What's grid runners?
I actually haven't played this one.
It's mini.
like a
It's
series
like
of
mini
puzzles.
games. Little puzzles. Little puzzles.
I've got a big brain. This will be easy.
You definitely. There's
just
got to be
run
something in that
ahead.
big head.
Welcome to Grid Runners. Here's how you play.
There's got to be
As a
something
team,
in
you must
there.
race through a collection of challenges and complete them before your opponents do.
Honestly, this could be our time to shine. Genuinely.
I think it could be. I actually think it could be.
8
I
months.
really like
Each
grid
challenge
runners.
is based in its own room, and once the challenge is complete, the door to the next one will open. Teams will run their own copy of the course.
All right.
Okay.
So this part right where we're at right now is like a race. So we got to get to the room.
Yeah, it's really easy. What we
I
want to
have played this.
What we
I
want to
remember
do
this.
is when it goes 3, 2, 1, as it says 1 on screen, we want to jump so that when we get blown out of these cannons, we'll get blown right to the end.
We'll get blown.
We're gonna get blown, James. James,
You don't even have to break your wrist this time.
my wrist is gonna be a-okay because I don't need to use it because we're gonna get blown right to the end, right to the finish.
You got
right
a
to the
mighty
finish.
cannon to shoot us now.
All right. Everyone, calm.
I'm very
We're
calm.
We're gonna
win
get
this
blown to
game.
the finish.
I'm ready. Everyone get ready to jump.
Okay. Well, we got. How long's 30 seconds? Okay.
30 seconds.
Why?
Get
Oh my-
ready.
What? We just have to spam jump here and sprint.
No, so like
jump.
basically on one, start sprinting and then kind of like jump forward,
Okay.
What?
and it'll like jettison you.
My OBS is just like lagging really bad. What?
And like tighten your muscles and just prepare and then get ready to get blown.
I actually don't know. So I actually don't know
I'm
if that's
ready.
just OBS.
On
'cause
one.
I was actually having some stream trouble earlier tonight. I think Twitch might be having some issues
Oh,
with
really?
connection. Yeah, I think it might be.
Okay, here we go.
If it's-
Here we go.
There you are.
Oh my God!
Made
I
it.
got blown. I got blown.
No, I missed the jump. But that's okay.
You got blown so hard.
Players required one. Go in one. Go in one.
I'm in. I'm in. Okay, cool.
Copy
Copy
painting.
the
paint.
paintings.
Okay.
Oh, good luck. Okay, so
Basically, tell
I
everyone
start-
what blocks you need.
Okay, I'm top right. Mine is 5 gold blocks, so it's across in the middle. So gold.
5 gold blocks. I have 5 gold blocks. I can
Yeah,
pass
that's
yeah,
across.
so
Go
you go
across.
turn to me.
So leave the corners out. Okay.
No, you build your own painting, James. You build your own painting. You just need to
Oh,
tell
You
us
build
what.
your own?
Yeah, you build your own, I think. Right? Or am I wrong? I think you do.
I can't.
I don't think.
I think you just. I think you just need to tell people what blocks you
okay,
need.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, hang on. Yeah. So here, Jack. Here,
Yeah.
take all them.
Gold.
Take all them. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what to do, right? Okay, corners are the steel block.
No, I think you build your own painting, but you just need to tell me what blocks
No,
you
you
need to
don't.
do it. I'm.
No,
oh,
you don't.
James, I'm almost certain of this. I've
Okay.
been in this event
Oh,
quite
you
a
need
lot.
to build it. Oh, I need my blocks back. I
Yes.
need my blocks.
Okay.
I can't
What do you
build
need?
my
What do you
own
need?
painting,
How many
Jack.
blocks do you need? Tell me what blocks you need.
I need 5 of the steel one, 1 gold, 1 emerald, and then 2 of the brown one.
How many iron was that?
Oh,
2
James,
brown.
what do you
2
need?
brown. Yep. 1 green.
need 2
I
emeralds.
need that. Can I get that?
Okay, cool. That should be all the
How
blocks
many-
you need.
how many
right.
do you need of this?
What do you need, Velvet?
That's
I need
only
2
need
emerald
one.
blocks. 2
Emeralds?
emerald blocks. Yeah,
Does anyone have
I
emeralds?
need 1 of like the
I've
iron
got
one, the steel
emerald. I've
one.
got emerald.
You need one more
I need 2
iron? There
emerald
you are.
blocks.
Yeah, 1 more.
Two of these.
2 of which?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Blue.
There you go.
And I need 1 copper from someone.
I don't
I've got
have any
copper.
copper left.
Oh no, sorry. I need the
I need
shiny
gold.
emerald.
I need
I need the
5
shiny
gold.
emerald.
Okay, here's
RT
the
needs
first
emeralds as well.
Quartz here, yeah. Shiny emerald.
I don't have it, but if anyone has any spare emerald, I need it because RT needs it.
Shiny
Emerald.
emerald,
Oh,
gang.
I've got 1
How many-
emerald. I've got 1 emerald.
I need emerald.
Cool. How many do you need, RT?
Just 1.
He's got 1.
There you are.
Is mine done right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Right, that should be it. Get ready. Yep, there you
Yeah,
are.
I'm done.
Run.
Okay. All right.
Players, 1 required.
Yeah, I'm running over here.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, shoot targets. Okay.
Shoot the target.
Shoot the targets. Okay, pretty straightforward.
Everyone just focus on the ones on your sides, okay?
I'm going on the top for the upper ones,
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
but you can too.
Is that all of them?
No, there's still the one up top.
There's 1 in the back.
There's obviously
Where's the-
one.
Oh,
I can't
whereabouts?
see anymore on
Oh,
mine.
Okay, here we go. Run.
nice one, lads.
Nice, that was a good one.
That was really good.
Oh, we're just all in
Right
here.
here.
Okay. Oh, this one's good. Okay, so someone.
Golf your friends.
So someone else jump in here, and then we need to like whack each other into the holes. So.
Oh, okay. Toss me.
Whoa, calm down, James. Stand here.
Toss
like,
me.
on the corner. Where are you going, James? Green. There you are.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then Velvet. There you go. RT, you go over there, and then he'll knock you into the red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toss me.
You ready?
Get in your hole. Make sure to be on the pressure plates. James, on the pressure plates.
Oh.
Cool.
We got it.
Woohoo!
Oh my god, we're doing it. We're doing it.
We're doing all right. We're doing okay. We're doing okay.
This is fine. This is
Speed
fine.
now. Look at us go.
Everyone in the middle.
Okay. Final the items. Okay, so the items are: we need a block of diamond, a beehive, a bell, a smoker, and a loom.
Okay.
God.
Diamond, I got the diamond.
I got the loom.
I've got the smoker.
Okay, cool. Throw them in. Yeah, throw them in. Get them thrown in the thingies.
I'm looking.
Okay.
Beehive.
Diamond.
Beehive.
Beehive. Okay. And
Beehive and bell.
That'll probably
Wait, was
be
there a bell at the
outside.
front?
You can go outside. Probably check outside for
I got a
beehive.
beehive.
Okay, nice.
Okay, I found the beehive.
What do we need then?
Oh, we've done it. We've done it.
Just the bell.
The bell has to
Oh,
go.
sick. Okay, we got it. Let's go.
Oh, was there multiple beehives?
Cool.
No.
Light the lamps. All right,
Light the
just do parkour. Flick on the switches. Everyone
I'm gonna
focus
go to
on like
right.
an individual area. Try not to stay too close to anyone. Oh shit.
Oh my god.
I've already fallen.
Where's the
Oh my god.
switch for this one? Oh my god, seriously?
Okay, there's one.
Okay, there's one up there.
There's
How
two.
about up there?
There's
Can I
one
walk
in the
across this
middle.
chain?
Oh my god. I'm useless at this one.
It's all good, James. Just try your best.
I can't break
Okay.
through here. Oh, I almost had that one.
Okay.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Okay, you got that. Yeah.
What?
Go on now, Velvet.
Why
Where
can't? What?
is
How do you do that?
the last one?
Oh, I need to.
Oh
I
my
got it.
god.
I know where it is. I've got it. If I can do the parkour though.
Where is it?
Oh my
Is it
god,
the
why
last one?
was my fucking sprint not work?
Is it the one at the top?
Yeah, it's here. I got it. Oh, there's another one here as well. Let me hold on.
Oh, there's one over there.
how do you get to
how do
that?
we get... Yeah, I'm trying to work that out. Like, I don't actually see the path.
Oh, I know where it is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to get up there.
Yeah, I actually don't see it. I'm trying to have a look.
I know how to do it.
Is there,
Okay, I got one. I got the one that was on the yellow.
I got it.
That one's already on.
Got it.
There's
All right.
one
Oh,
right
wait,
here.
where's
I'm
the other
looking,
one?
by the way.
Oh, run over on the
Where
side.
I'm looking is one up high up here.
Yeah,
I don't know how to
it.
get there.
Yeah, like that's the one I've been struggling to
From
work
the-
out. I think
from
you might
the-
be able to jump at Velvet. You might.
I'll try.
It's the only thing I can think of is from there, like that. Oh!
You definitely can, but you need to like. There's a way to get here from the side.
Oh shit! Oh god, my sprint is so fucked. Fucking weird keyboard.
Whereabouts is it?
I think I know how to get to it. It's
Over
It's up in the
Here,
corner
up at the
here.
right
Yeah,
thing.
come up here and we'll show it to you. Like we're all just kind of looking at it.
Jesus.
It's-
Oh.
Happy
I think it's
4
here, but I think you have to get the jump like perfect.
I'm on
I think I know how to get it.
So you better win.
Oh wait, hang on.
No,
Yeah, it might
I
be
got
up
it.
here.
I got it.
Okay, here, if you got it, go
Oh
for it.
Jesus! If I can make this jump, I don't know what.
Jump on the lantern, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just
You have to like
my
jump to
brain.
that
is
one.
just-
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I got
there you go. Yeah, up here, and then you want to go. Okay, if you want to actually land that jump onto those things, if you can. I don't know how to do
No! It's a big leap.
it is. I don't understand.
Oh wait.
That's a really tricky one.
I figured it out.
You got it?
Wait.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, is there just like a path? Oh, Jesus.
Look right here. Look right here. You see this? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, jump up.
He's getting hit.
Unfortunate.
That sucks.
Kill them all.
Beat the beasts.
Try and land crits if you can.
Cool.
Yeah, so just give it a little jump.
Yeah, hit while in the. Oh my gosh, Ravager.
So we'll show them who's boss, gang. They won't mess with us.
Cool. Skeleton hit.
Oh, they're messing with us. Oh no.
Where else is mobs? Where are we missing
one
them?
here.
Oh,
We did
Got
it.
him.
Hold on, I'm right at the back. Give me a sec. Sorry.
No, you're oh Jesus, you're a mile away.
Yeah, there was something at the back.
We're getting them.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, I'm noticing that the guys that are in 10th are quite a way behind us. They're still on city lamps. So the more distance
we got them.
Between us and them, the better.
Okay, we need a bed.
Bed, golden shovel, hay, and a bow.
Okay, I'm killing the sheep. I'll work on the bed.
Oh, I've already started on that.
Okay, well do you need wool? I got 3 wool.
Oh, okay. No, you do it then if you've got it, honestly, because I've got less wool. What else do we need? The shovel.
I'm killing spiders. I'll get the.
Oh, we need to gather it. We need to gather it. Right.
Yeah. A bed. Okay, I got a bed. Okay, yeah, I put the bed in.
I'm just looking for
gold. How much string do you need?
If you find gold, I've got a thing for you, and then we need 3 string, James.
Okay.
How many do you have, James?
I've got iron. It's not quite right.
I got 2, James.
Okay, let's go.
Do you know how to craft a bow, James?
It's the 3 sticks and string.
Found some gold.
There's the string on the ground.
Okay.
Jack picked it up.
Yeah, I'll grab it. Sorry, I'll take it.
Oh,
okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. Any others?
There's some. I popped some. Just chucked the gold in there.
I'll get the hay.
I've got the hay. Don't
How do you make a bow again?
Okay.
What is it? Just sticks and string.
Do we have the gold?
We've done that. We just need the gold.
Bow's good.
Oh, okay.
We just need the gold.
I put the gold in the furnace. I have it.
Oh, okay. So okay, that's it then. That's all we need.
And then everyone else just get by the exit, I guess.
There, I put some wood in.
We just need to smelt a bar.
It's smelting.
Cool. I'll grab it. I'll craft it.
Okay.
Here, I'm putting one.
We'll just get over to the door in the meanwhile.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, let's go. Oh, that's not the last one, is it?
Unlock the exit.
Unlock the exit.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus, what's going on here?
Okay, we need to shoot them and... Oh, okay, this is easy. Okay. So, Velvet, are you going to do the parkour?
Sure.
Cool. Right, there you are.
Oh, okay.
You have to be pretty quick.
Oh, it's timed?
Yeah, it's timed.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, okay.
So, I'll shoot this. All right, then shoot the next one.
Yeah, everyone just needs to...
And then...
Hang on.
Right, we need... Yeah, wait for us. We need to be ready.
Okay. Whoever does the first one here, you need to run to the last one, okay?
Go, okay.
Oh, you got it, James. Okay. Nice.
Woohoo!
There we go.
Cool.
Did I do? Oh.
We got the key?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Nicely done.
Oh, I screwed that up.
I can't see.
Oh, Jesus. I really screwed this up. Jesus.
Come on, gang, you can get it.
Sorry, I'm balling.
No, you're grand.
He's balling. He's balling. I don't know what he said, but he said balling.
Okay, cool.
Nicely done.
We won.
Nicely done.
We overtook 5 right at the end.
Okay, that's good. And equally, there's gonna be like bonus points and stuff after this. So. Why is it so laggy?
Is it OBS dropping for you?
No, it's not like internet though. It's like OBS itself is like lagging.
Yeah. Like,
weird.
I was having that earlier. I think there's something wrong with connections to Twitch tonight, and I think there's something weird going on there.
Oh, okay.
I was having it too.
Weird. It's annoying. Sorry, the audience. Sorry, the viewers. Apparently, there's very little I can do, which is really frustrating. Oh, my wrist fucking thrashes. I will have to, like, unironically switch to the controller soon. It hurts a bit, but, like, now it's actually, like... It looks fine. Maybe it's just on my end. Where are the pink parrots? What are they doing? Can they do it? Can they make it in time? They got 10 seconds to... Oh, they can't. Oh, they tried, man. A valiant effort. A valiant effort.
What about...
For some of them, I'm their only fodder. They don't have their actual one.
Oh, okay.
I like this big silly clown. Oh, we did these quicker than I thought.
Let's see.
Oh, we were the quickest to search the house. That's really good.
We did well there.
We were not great at city lamps. We were very bad at city lamps.
We struggled on the last one.
That one in the art gallery, we were pretty bad. Ooh, third.
Oh, we're moving up the ranks here a bit.
This is gonna do us some good.
Sick.
Dunk tank.
And the race.
Completion bonus.
Okay, we still got 8.
8 overall. Yeah.
That's not bad. I'll take it.
We got a bit of a jump up on 9s there too.
Yeah, not far behind in
Gradually
7.
improving.
Press tab. Look how close in coins we got that game to the next 2.
Yeah,
we
like
did
we
pretty well.
caught up with them now. Yeah, it's actually very contested between a lot of the teams here.
It
We're
is.
only like 500 points off
Hello,
second.
Yaks, I have a message.
Okay,
What's the
James, hit us with it.
When we started the game, we were 10th. If you want to put some like epic music on for your own streams,
Oh,
this
okay,
might help.
I
with
will
the...
do it. Wait, you gotta give me a second though.
I'll give you like 15 seconds. It's alright.
I can just improv the Skyrim theme, like.
Oh, my keyboard's
that works. Yeah. Cool. When we started this fabled game, we were 10th. Say it with me. We were 10th.
We were 10th.
We were 10th. That's real.
We were 10th.
After the game, we were 9th.
True.
Say it with me.
9.
But perhaps, my dear brothers, perhaps we will get 8th.
Yeah, we're in. I think we're in 8th. We are in 8th, James.
We are in 8th. 8th. Perhaps we get 8th. Say it with me.
Perhaps we absolutely have 8th already. I don't know why you keep saying.
I mean, in the finale of the comment, because realistically, 7th is quite a way off at this point. But
No, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him.
All right, it is a little bit further than I expected, but it's not bad. It's doable.
We're gonna get him.
If they start doing really bad and we start doing really well, it's doable. You know?
If we get 4,000 points and everyone else gets none, we win. Like, it's that easy. Think about it.
you can see the chat is going wild.
They're going crazy!
They're going crazy. I can barely see my screen.
Ah! And the chat right now screaming.
My chat's actually screaming in pain. I think several people are injured. We might need to call someone.
Saul.
Oh, it's the viewer vote, is it? We have
Oh, it's a viewer vote. Oh, shit. Okay,
I think that's what we're waiting for. Let me just have a quick old look.
Let's open twitter.com.
We will win the viewer vote. Is that how that works?
Let's tell you what to vote for.
Probably not. I would imagine Rambo will win the viewer vote.
Oh, okay.
It's just kind of the way these things go.
That's not on. He's not allowed to do that now.
Very, very little you can do about that, really.
Audience blackout. You want to vote Sands of Time. Not big sales at Buildmart. That one's shite.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to go for a minute. I am merely throbbing.
What? What?
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Oh no.
2 seconds. Guys, your options are big sales at Build Mart, Parkour Tag, Sands of Time, and Meltdown. I'm just going to vote one really quick to see. The one with the least votes will be played. I would kind of like, out of all of them, Meltdown. So, let's vote for it, see what it's at. Meltdown is the least! Guys, vote Sands of Time. Sands of Time is what you vote, guys. Vote Sands of Time. We want Meltdown to say absolutely the lowest. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, vote Parkour Tag, actually. Never mind. Parkour Tag is getting too close. I clicked the wrong button. Parkour Tag is getting too close. I want to play Meltdown. Vote Parkour Tag. Parkour Tag! Vote Parkour Tag now. I influence the people. The people don't influence me. Hello.
Oh no. I got it wrong. I'm sorry.
That was rather sultry, Jack, the way you came back in there with a little hello.
I'm a sultry man.
Well, we're past the watershed now, you know, so he can like take a whole new mood if he wants.
Oh, he's right. We're past the watershed. I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, I'm past it. I'm beyond that. You're an awful dude.
Oh, but awful as in full of awe.
Mention slow down. It's like your song Slow Down, but the melt kind. That's upsetting.
Oh, Jesus.
Voting is important to remain demographic. Wait, what? How did you get my name? Their username is JackManifold. They stole my name. You're the reason I'm TV. You're the Manifold viewer that forced this. You're the TV creator. You're the one. Guys, they're the imposter. They're sus. Guys, they're suspicious. Thank you for gifting James Marriott a 6-month sub. I appreciate it. Nad the narrator, thank you for your 4 months. It's La Jane. Thank you for your prime. I appreciate it.
Yes!
Hello?
Right, bye, guys.
Humble in victory.
What happened? I was deafened, and then there was a woman.
I didn't know that I beat Nikki in
Nikki came and said,
Ace Race.
Oh, you beat her in Ace Race?
I'm the GOAT.
You're goated, James.
I can't believe they put a goat on yellow yaks.
You're very... Fuck's sake. They should change green geckos to green goats, and then they would win every time.
I can't believe...
They then put me on green goats.
G is popping off.
Is she?
Yeah, I think. Oh wait, does it not mean... I thought, like, the top person on each team was the one with the most points in that team.
No.
That would make no sense, because I am second on our team.
I mean, the Red Rabbits are actually doing very... Like,
they are doing very well,
like,
as a
fair play to
team.
them, yeah. They are
Hannah's in
doing really well.
2nd. Pearl's in 7th.
Look at that, we got 8 though. We got 8. We're coming for them.
Perhaps we get 8th!
Perhaps we get 8th, James!
Okay, we also need one of us in the top 10. I volunteer, but if anyone else wants it, go for it.
Velvet,
you know?
what are you?
Yeah, what are you?
Just what are you?
What are you,
That's
man?
rude.
Be real with me.
Right, I'm...
Chat. Hi. The Skyrim music stopped. Stop. Anyway, how are we, chat? How are we doing? I appreciate you all for being here. I really do. Oh, I said be real. Do you get it? Guys, I hate when people, like, will know it's be real time and be like, guys, pose. It's not very real of them. It's real if you just take a picture of whatever you're doing in the moment. If it's shitting with your penis out, so be it. That's what I've always said.
Team unfreeze teammates and get coins.
Oh, we're doing Meltdown? Sick. I love
My
Meltdown.
brother's
I think it's Meltdown. Meltdown had the least votes.
I like
Okay,
Meltdown.
which one is that? What do we do in Meltdown?
See, it's you know how I said one was like CS:GO earlier. This one kind of actually is. It basically it's like ice. It's freeze tag. If you shoot someone with your bow, they get frozen.
Oh no, I hate this one. Oh
This
no.
one's good, James. You'll like it.
This one's good.
I'm forcing
Sounds
you
at
to
least.
like it.
What is going on? Oh, it's
The audience vote. They've breached the dome. We are not.
The audience
safe.
have breached the dome. We are not safe.
Oh no.
I'll be right back. I'm quickly calling Phil for some advice.
Oh Jesus. Do you want to just get like call the WhatsApp group or something at this rate? Like you got fucking everyone. Like
He has.
there.
He actually has.
Hey, let me just go through my Rolodex of contacts and see who I can bring on the stream.
James actually does own a Rolodex as well, which is more interesting. By
Here
the
we
way,
go, here we
whoever
go.
wants the telepickaxe can have it. But I'm also happy to be the guy.
Let's capture crates.
You can have it for now.
I'll grab it for now. That's all good. Definitely call before you take it off me, though.
So James, do you know what this is at all, or no?
He's calling. Phil. Never
We
mind.
shoot with the bows to freeze them. We mine each other out, or we can put the
No,
heaters by each
you
other.
can't mine people. You just put the heaters down.
Yeah,
Okay,
the heater unfreezes them after a while.
I am not very good at navigating, so
Use the map, James. Put it in your offhand.
How do I? Oh,
F.
Q, right? No.
F.
Okay.
There you go, Jim.
Thank you, brother. How the hell can you use a bow with one hand?
James, don't question it. It's Minecraft. He has long fingers. One of his long fingers stretches out and pulls back the string.
It's kind of sinister. I don't like
That
that.
shows you coin crate rooms as well as the state of the meltdown. Enemy heaters can be broken with a punch. Okay.
I'll punch you.
That's just not very nice, Jack. Take it back.
Yeah, it's very
Okay, I
aggressive.
won't do it, but only because I'm kind.
Okay, I'm gonna need a lot of guidance here. So whoever's the goat, feel free to help me.
I'm pretty gutted. James, people have claimed that I'm with the source.
So do we mine the heaters, or what do we do?
You can mine
just
other people's
place them.
heaters, yes.
Yeah, you can place them and
So
pick
with the
up ones that you
telepickaxe,
see.
James, if you want it, right-click it. Don't do it now, though, because I'm about to have it. Call out before you take it off me, because I will expect to have it. I'm going to be mining crates. So call out if you see a crate. Or if you're a while away from me, just tell me you're taking the pickaxe.
Crate here by me.
Wait, whereabouts are you, James?
Go back. You just go back.
James.
I'm taking
Yeah, just get it. It's all good. Yeah, just go get it.
I haven't seen the other team yet.
I've found another crate. We should probably push through to another room. I'm just going to grab these last two crates and then...
Another crate here. Yeah, do you want me to get it?
I'll grab it. It's all good.
Okay.
Right here.
Cool. Right, let's push through here.
Nice.
Oh, God,
Don't be like
there's a
too.
lot of these
We want
rooms.
to make progress, like forward progress.
Someone
Don't
went.
be too like crazy about crates. Like you know,
Okay.
don't search like crazy diligently. Just if you see any, grab them. Especially with these
Okay.
rooms, we kind of want to make progress into.
Careful.
There's
RT, careful,
Yeah,
careful.
pink.
Oh my God! Fucking hell!
Pink. Stick together. We got really separated.
I'm coming.
Oh, I'm frozen.
Throw a heater
Who's
down there,
frozen?
RT, if you can.
I can't. 'cause
That
I'm
one. I
frozen.
think that one
Where are
counts. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. So
Shit,
it
all right,
takes
put one
roughly,
put a heat in
roughly
there if
8
you can.
seconds to unfreeze.
I
Got one.
The two of them are frozen.
Oh, I'm frozen.
It's all good.
Got one.
Now.
I'm gonna use your frozen body.
Okay, froze one. There's one pink left. Got him.
Nice.
All right, we want to go.
done,
We want to go
got
through to the
it.
next room. Through to the next room.
Okay, let's go.
Right, be
Nice, we
careful
did
now.
it.
Be careful because this is going to be a pretty packed room. Or
Okay.
there's a chance for it to be at least. The coins in here have probably been gotten, but just check, just in case. Okay, green are here. Green here.
Green hair. All right.
Got one.
Okay, one's down.
Oh, they're down the bottom. They're down the bottom. Got another one. I got him. Oh no, that's the. Sorry, I saw a line. With...
Oh, they got me.
It's all good.
Break the pick. I'm running
Here
ahead.
at the side. Here at the side. Hide behind me a bit.
Wait,
All right, hit one.
Thank you.
I'm getting some gold coins,
Get them.
some crates from the other area.
Okay.
Where's the last one?
Okay, we got green. We got
Okay,
green.
that team's gone. Nicely done.
You
nicely
see where
done.
I'm at?
I
By the
think
way,
they
I'm
got all the
far
coins in
away.
here,
Oh, you're miles
so
away.
we just got.
Yeah, look,
Yeah,
we're coming to you. We're coming to you.
Okay, I'm getting coins. I've gotten like
Yeah,
a few different things. Of
yeah. Grab
coins.
some coins. Grab some coins. Right, be careful.
In
Then.
the
Oh, watch
middle,
out!
in the middle, in the
Behind
middle.
me. There's someone right
got
behind
one.
me. Don't.
Shit! All right, put a freezer in if you can, RT. Thank you.
Yeah, oh, we got
Freezer,
two. Oh.
fucking heater. You know what I mean?
It's okay. I'm got hit, but there's a heater. There's a lot of them here.
Yeah, they're pushing quite heavily. Shit.
I got another.
Someone has another heater they
Right,
can
the
place
corner,
down.
corner.
Oh, I got.
Velvet, stand near the
I got
heater
one
if
of
you
them.
can. Like,
I'm
make sure
frozen.
you get because if you get frozen, you're
There's
fucked.
one right here in the corner. He's in the corner. 3 are out. There's 3.
Place the
Yeah,
heater down.
they're all
Velvet,
in
place
this
your heater
room.
down now. So if you get frozen, it's on you.
I can't place it yet. I can't
Okay,
place it
okay. Whenever you can place it, do it.
Yeah, watch out. They're hiding behind the ice.
Yeah,
They're like
there's
all
one
around
in the
James.
corner.
Damn it!
Oh,
We did so good. We literally
we did really
That was good.
well
That was
there.
really good.
Holy
Yeah, we did
shit.
well. We did really
Okay.
well.
I ran
Nicely
ahead and I
done,
got
gang.
a bunch of coins, but whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, we did so good.
Yeah, you did really well, man. Next time we should focus on sticking a little bit closer together. But honestly, good,
Yeah.
good round.
Yeah, we got a bit split up there, but I think we did very well overall. We got like I think 2 teams.
Yeah, we did really well.
I ran off for coins. I don't think that like, but we all got back together and then we just got memes though. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's definitely like
You got
it
it.
isn't what lost us the round. It's just good practice.
Well, look at all disintegrate.
A lot of them are falling into lava. Oh, it's because the stage is collapsing.
Yeah,
right?
it is also actively melting down. It's a double entendre. If you really think about it, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I
It's
actually
pretty
really like this one.
crazy.
Let's go.
Nobody's going for the big thing.
Yeah, because it's dangerous. Oh no.
Oh no, wait, there's
They're
one
on
of
it
them there. Oh, so many coins.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So many coins. Oh, that's filthy how many they just got.
Yep. Ridiculous. Now it's just a survival game.
Disgusting amount of coins they got at the end.
Still,
there, and it's
4th
like,
overall.
oh,
That was
dude.
pretty good.
Guys, that's so good. How many rounds are there? 3. Okay.
3. Yeah, we just need to
Yeah, I
basically do
think
what
we did really
again.
good by just sticking together. We did so well.
Yeah, we just want to stick closer.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then,
did pretty good there.
Yeah, just
You
whoever
can take
wants.
the pickaxe, Jack.
Do you want me to take it? Cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And so we just right.
I think what we want to do this time to get more coins is we want to be a little bit quicker on our push towards, the coin rooms. We want to make a little bit of a quicker advance towards the coins.
Let's go.
Okay, cool.
Definitely like scan this room for coins because this is the safest room. But we definitely don't want to like spend too long in here.
Yeah, let's go. You're going backwards, Jack.
Yeah,
so-
I was just having a little scan, but right, let's stick together. Go. Push forward.
So here,
Right.
and then in on the right.
Start being a
is the
little bit more
coin room.
careful in these rooms because there could be people in
Oh,
here.
guys, sorry, I'm left behind.
Don't see anyone yet.
Oh yeah, James here. Come on, you're all right. Yeah. This way.
Oh, orange.
This way.
Where are they?
Coins right here. Right there.
Here, come
Shit.
right.
Okay. Shit. Oh, no, it's all good.
Are
It's
you
all
in range
good.
of the heater?
Yeah, I'm in range.
One?
That's why I placed
Okay.
it. I'm all good.
Oh, I got froze.
You're good.
They're out. They're all out. They're thawed. One's pushing.
Heater
Good.
coming.
Two down.
Two frozen.
There's two more. There's hiding by the heaters. They've just put another heater down.
Yeah, go try and break the heater if you can, but don't. Okay. Shit. Okay, I got frozen.
That's fine.
Cheers.
Put a heater down.
Going.
James, to your right. Yep, you got it.
They've got one down, but like next to us, so don't worry. This should be easy.
Break that. Yeah.
He ran left.
Here.
All right, we got him. All right.
Okay, we got
Oh, we want to go to the coin room. All right, let's head to the
Where
coin
is
room.
it?
All right, let's
Let's do that.
push quick, because this is gonna start being a problem in a second.
Okay,
We probably lost out on the coins in that room as well, but fuck it.
that's fine.
I'm following you, Jack.
It's all good.
All right, I'm through. I'm gonna go
This way.
This way. Yeah. Right, be careful when we get
Oh,
in
we're a
here.
bit split up.
Oh shit, yeah, you guys are way away from me.
Yeah, we went the wrong way, I think.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh,
We kind of need to get back to you, I think.
It's all good. It's all good.
hey, Jack's
I'm safe.
coming.
I can find you, Jack. I'm near you.
Cool. I'll wait for you by this door.
Strength in numbers.
I'm with you. Right,
I'm not seeing anyone
How's
yet.
it
I think
see a
all the
coin.
coins from just try and grab any coins you can.
There's one.
I'm with. Oh yeah, you got it. Okay, cool.
I took the
Yeah, you're
pickaxe.
good. I
Anyone
spotted.
else?
I spotted.
Just
Right.
waiting for this one to open, I
Basically,
think.
yeah, we might as well just wait for this to open at this point. I
Let's
think
go,
all the
like,
other,
beeline.
all those other rooms would have had all the coins like ripped out of them. So
Okay.
Nice
Okay.
choice.
This is good.
this is good.
How many are left?
Wait by this door because
Oh,
this is.
they're here. They're here. They're coming up the rear. Hang on.
Okay.
Down that passage.
Oh shit, they're right there. Sorry,
They're
you
right
don't realize how
there, they're
fucking
right
close
there,
they
yeah.
are.
Be careful. Try and drop a heater if you can.
There's one more coming.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
There was two,
You did
but
so
I.
good.
That was fine.
They
That
were
was
right
fine.
there, like I
Yeah.
literally rounded the corner. It's like
No, I
four
didn't realize
people
how
in the
close
face.
they were. That's why I tried to put down the heater.
Jesus.
Still really fucking good.
Yeah, good round. Good round.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
good round.
Bloody hell. Scary.
I really like this game. This is one of my favorite new ones.
Yeah, I really like this one too now. It's actually got a really cool concept.
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
gonna
fun.
put
It's
it
fun.
out there. Perhaps we get 8th.
Perhaps this is with a performance like this. Perhaps we get 8th.
I think
Performance
Cyan's
like this,
gonna
perhaps
take
we win
this
the whole
one.
bloody thing.
Perhaps we fucking smash it, bastard! Why?
I think
Good
Cyan might be doing well. They might be doing well here.
Folks, maybe we get 7th. Maybe we get 7th. Maybe.
We might be good enough for 7th now.
Who's
doing well.
in 7th right now? Orange.
We're gonna win more big than we've ever won.
By the time we've done winning, you're gonna be bored of winning. You're gonna say no more winning, please.
Oh Jesus.
By the way,
That's good.
that paraphrase slightly a real quote.
Pretty much. Twitter is very quiet these days. Well, actually, no, it's not. What am I talking about? No, it's not.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's really not. Yeah, Twitter's been a
You,
shit
you
show
thought
lately.
you thought it would change, and then it appears that there's just plenty of other
boy.
people causing problems.
Chiefly Twitter. Yeah, I think Cyan's got this one overall. But I mean,
Yeah,
we're still
Cyan
doing
have
well
smashed
in
this.
General, like, holy shit, they got all those middle coins twice now. That's
Yeah.
so much. That's so much. Disgusting.
That's gonna shoot them with the leaderboard. Like they're in a fucking 2,500 coin lead above second place.
like fucking hell. Yeah, I think they might be first after that.
I don't know if it'll take.
They can do it again here.
I don't know how high up they are to begin with, but it's definitely gonna
I'm
do
not
them.
sure.
It's gonna do them a lot of favors. I'll take
Fair
the
play to
top
them
pick.
though. They're
It's
doing
just starting.
amazing.
All right.
Oh, they're doing really, really well. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Right.
There's one there on the left.
There's
Yeah,
one
I
at the top
spotted
left. Yeah.
Jumping around. Got that. See if we can spot any others. But yeah, we definitely. I think this time defo focus.
One here, by me, by me.
Yep. Defo focus on just like going into the
right here.
There's one here as well.
We want to run.
And right
There's one here I can
Yeah,
get.
I'll grab that one. Let me grab this one, RT, and then you take the pickaxe and grab it. Okay.
Got it.
Right.
Nice.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going
Okay.
to you.
Remember to stick a bit closer together if we can. We're a little bit separate right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Which way are we going?
Let's go. Fuck it.
I'm
Let's.
with Marty.
I'm just trying to explore. There's one there on the left.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely should. We should make progress on going to the blue rooms. We want to get there quicker
Yeah.
because they have more coins.
Alright, let's go to blue room.
Like we'd have way more points if we could just grab one of those rooms. Just be careful.
One there.
Orange
Oh,
are in
there's
here.
a team.
Orange.
Let's grab this really quick. Sorry.
Oh, go.
Oh, nice man. Careful. Try and stick together. James.
Go on.
Watch out over here.
Nice.
Oh, they're coming this way as well.
One here. There's loads of heat.
Is there another team or something?
No, it's just.
Oh, how did they get me?
It's alright.
Thanks, Jack.
Right.
Oh, okay, he's there. He's there. He's there.
Yeah.
Ooh, watch out. Watch out, watch out, watch out.
Whereabouts?
Got another.
Oh gosh.
Watch out. Where? Where'd you get shot from?
Where I'm at, there were, you know,
Got him.
there was one over here.
Right there. Right. Is that all of them?
There's one more.
We want to go down for that coin room.
Okay. Yeah. We want to try and get that coin room. 'Cause we're
Oh, it's up there. The entrance. Do you see that?
Yeah. We got it. We got it. Go through here.
Oh wait, no, it's around here. It's around
Yeah.
here.
It's here. It's here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Did we knock out that team?
Yeah, we did.
close
Yeah, we
to
killed
it.
them. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully this has probably been sniped already again. Yeah, it has. They got all the coins. Fuck. We keep getting in battles before every coin room, so we just keep missing them. It's really frustrating. We'd have so many more points if we could just grab these
Let's go to
rooms.
the next room.
The fact we're winning battles every single time, though, is so good.
Yeah, no. Oh, purple right there.
Oh, careful, careful. Behind you, Jack. Behind you.
here.
I know.
Yep.
Shit. Okay, I got caught.
Going.
Oh, fuck.
James,
I'm
careful.
just-
James, careful, James.
Ah,
James.
Oh.
sorry.
No, they broke the heater.
Sorry.
Oh, God.
It's my. I pushed up too far. I got
We've
it.
such a strong start. Every time.
It's fine. It's fine. We're still. Happily
Yeah,
in
we
fourth.
still
Fire
did
breath
good. We
man.
still did really good.
Yeah, we're happily in fourth. No one can overtake that now. I don't think.
Purple and blue. Well, no, blue can't now. Purple could.
Purple potentially could with a good game.
Oh, but they're first anyway. Like they're so far ahead of us. There's not
Yeah,
really
it doesn't
much
really matter.
They overtake us.
Yeah, honestly, good round.
Do I have time to
Doesn't
go
matter,
for a
fucking
piss?
Yeah,
Good game.
James.
You have it.
Petey
Take your
hard
time.
skin gent. Let the piss out of your bladder, your little bladder. Very small.
You have enough time to take a shit too if you want.
You probably do, to be fair, James. Probably do. I mean, I can't deny that. I can't deny the truth of that. Ooh, battles.
Oh Jesus, yeah, they're all going for it here. Woo, shit types. That's my chat. Like, yeah.
Shit time. I'm proud of them.
Nice. Like, get excited. The fun never stops.
I've never stopped having fun ever. I'm always having fun, even in the most dire moments of my life.
Oh no.
I've been through hell and back, RTGame, and let me tell you, I'm always having fun. I've always got a grin on my face. Sometimes people look at
laughing.
Yeah, some people look at me and they go, "That's sick, that's twisted," and I go, "It's just the way I am, man. Can't change a man like me."
Life is too much fun.
I'd argue it is. I'd argue it is.
It's too much. Please, I can't stop laughing. We're top
Where are
5. Yes,
Cyan?
we are.
Where's
Also,
Toast?
wait, is Cyan getting it again? That's a green point.
They're alive. They are alive. They could. I was curious. They seem to be losing this fight though right now.
I think someone else got it that time.
Yeah, no, they didn't get their stuff in the center, I don't believe. Oh, I don't know, actually. No one else seems to have enough coins to be there, right? Oh, no, I think green got it. I think green got it by the look of the point.
Reality is starting to disintegrate. They're in a bit of trouble now.
Yep,
This is a bit unfortunate. They're gonna...
it's late game now. It's late game now.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't know it was that bad.
Who's left?
Like, the dream. The dream is collapsing.
So Cyan are all alive. They're just frozen. And then... oh, no, are they?
Except Toast.
Okay,
Yes,
good. They're now all
there's
frozen.
one other team, I think, here that escaped.
Green got that
8th
one.
place.
I think in that individual round?
We got...
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we got 5th overall.
Okay.
Wait, did we?
Oh,
Yeah, we did.
Woohoo!
Had a fucking stupid
Climbing.
Yeah. We got a lot of points.
did pretty good.
1700.
Yeah? Pretty good. Pretty good. I'll take it. Fucking hell.
Wow.
Just topping the leaderboard.
That's mental.
Hello, boys. Over top.
Hey,
James, Jack and
hey,
James.
James, you smashed it, man.
Thank you, brother.
Fair play. Doing amazing. Yeah, that was really fun. I like that.
That was a
round.
good round.
That was probably the most fun I've had so far in one of the games.
Genuinely, the first time I played Meltdown, I felt the same. It's my favorite MCC game.
Yeah, I want that one to come back more.
Right. I'm gonna... Okay, little brain check. 8th is looking like it's in the bag. I'm gonna say it. Nice and early.
8th is solidly in the bag, and
What's the
honestly,
gap?
7th is still doable with a good round.
We could get 7th, yeah. We could.
With a good round, it's doable.
Oh, I'd love to beat Ludwig.
Oh my god, yeah, that's a...
Elwig! Elwig! We beat Elwig today! And I hit the Luddy on his grave.
Let's fucking get him.
I will happily get him.
They can still get first easy. Oh yeah, no, of course. Remember, like, everyone's gonna disconnect on the last round, and then Scott's gonna be like, "Oh, I guess we gotta play it where it lands," and then like, we get like triple points. It's gonna be
I'd
incredible.
like to start a new chant, team.
Okay.
So I want you to say it with me.
Of course.
When we started this game, we
Oh,
were
do you want me to do music?
Yep, please, if you could.
Okay, no,
Okay.
not again.
Please go for it.
When we started this game, we were 10. Say it with me. We were 10.
We were 10!
By the third game, we were 9. Say it with me.
9th!
No, we were 9.
We were 9th. Sorry, my bad.
We were 9. Say it again with a bit more good.
We were 9th!
After the next game, we thought to ourselves, perhaps we will get 8.
Perhaps we will!
Perhaps we will get 8.
Perhaps we will get 8th. Sorry, I didn't have enough Gustavo.
What if, gentlemen? What if we got 7th?
What if we got 7?
Let's fucking have it!
07's for 7th, people. 07's for 7th.
07.
Oh, we did it.
Game arriving.
So here we go. Hole in the wall.
Me
Hole
when
in the
my
wall.
name
We
is
want hole in the
Game,
wall.
and you know the
Hole in
rest.
the wall. Hole in the fucking
Yes!
wall. There it is. There it is. That's my boy.
I want to play some Hole in the Wall.
Hole in the wall. It's the best one.
Wait, actually, out of all the ones left, should we save it? Should we save it?
No, because it might not come up if we save it. We might not get to
No,
play it.
no. It's a popular game. I don't see it. I don't see people like intentionally missing
Got a
it.
crossbow.
What do we do?
I'm worried we won't get it.
Oh, we want hole in the wall, right?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Hole in the wall and Sands of Time will be good ones. Parkour tag is fun too, just not build merit. Not build merit. Build merit's
My chicken. My chicken will never die.
I like the people that missed their chicken.
missed.
I got one.
Where are they trying to shoot? Where are they trying to get for? Are they trying to get parkour?
There's a couple of them for parkour tag coming in yet.
I killed one in parkour tag.
Nicely done.
Oh wow. Well,
Oh, build merit is on fire.
well we're not
That
doing
sounds
Build Mart
about right.
anymore, it appears.
Oh, kill
No
parkour
one
tag.
wants to go to build merit.
Yes. Is that hole in the wall? Please.
It's gotta
Oh,
be.
come on. I think it's hole in the wall. I think we
It's
have
gotta be.
enough.
I don't think.
Come on, hole in the wall. Hole in the wall! Hole in the wall!
Who's ready to put themselves in a hole?
Some say it with me. Perhaps we get 8th.
Perhaps we get 8th.
But what if we got 7th?
But what if we got 7th?
Thank you. I'm
You're
not
welcome,
feeling the
James.
whole energy of the team there, RT. I was
So
expecting
I
you
wasn't
on the
sure if
vote.
you
honest,
wanted the
I-
Skyrim theme or not.
I really felt like we were let down. Yeah, I feel like we were let down.
I wasn't sure if you wanted Skyrim or not. Like, Todd Howard's going to be knocking on my door at this
Of course I
rate.
want Skyrim. Of course I do. I was born in 1997.
It feels like it's come out since then, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think, like, yesterday, like, Skyrim was 11 years old. And I think it's come out, like, 12 times in those 11 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Proud of my boy.
All right.
Hole in the
Sprint
wall.
jumping can get you free. Okay, so the idea here is
9th planet. Sorry, thank you for the 24 months. I didn't even spot that. Thank you so much. Also, somewhat Lily, thank you for the Prime. Quormy, thank you for the tier 3. And Epi, thank you for the 3 gifted subs. Sorry, I missed all these because I've been gaming, but thank I is appreciated.
in this MCC.
Go on, my son.
I just realized I pulled out that whole measuring tape. I forgot I was live. That was just me fidgeting. That was not a bit. There was nothing. I really wanted to unwind that whole measuring tape. I genuinely forgot people could watch me in that moment. I forgot I was live. That was 100% not a thing. Like, the people acknowledging that in chat scared me because I was like, why do they know that? And I just remembered I'm live on the internet. My bad, guys. Sorry. It will never happen again. I will always remember you. I will remember you.
Didn't feel the same.
Yeah, when you weren't practicing?
When I wasn't
You
practicing
know
earlier.
it's not the same. Sorry. My bad.
No, that was nice.
Hey, thanks,
do it again.
James.
Do it again. I like that. I like that.
You know it's not the same.
Can you sing Perhaps We'll Get 8 in that voice?
Perhaps we will get it.
Okay, here we go. The wall's coming now.
Solid wall, solid wall.
Nice. Good start. Anyone out yet?
No, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so.
Green again.
Green, green grass.
It's early days, yeah. It's early days.
Where is it?
Oh, it's there. It's there.
Jump.
No,
there.
no. Fucking hell, I almost died.
Oh my god, there's so much pressure. Okay, we're not last.
Green, I think.
Yes! Yeah, green. Yeah, it's come from green.
Yeah, it's green. Cool.
Bro, they look like they're lagging. Like the blocks do.
A little bit.
They always look a bit
okay,
like that.
keep an eye out because it's purple.
There's the real one. There's the real
It's
one.
purple. It's purple.
It's fine.
Princess Peach likes pink, but Daisy, her favorite color is purple.
Skill issue. Okay, so we can just stay in the same place, right?
Here we go.
Purple.
When does it get harder? Because this is so easy.
It gets harder.
does
It
get
gets
harder.
harder.
It'll
It does
start to
get
get
harder.
very fast, and like the layout.
The difficulty just increased, James.
Yeah,
right
here
now.
we go. You gotta do a run and jump on this one.
Okay.
Well done, James. You did it.
It's
You,
too
you
long,
smashed
though.
it.
Oh
Yeah,
my god,
like
oh my
that
god,
one
this
always
is so
knocks
good.
out a lot.
Loads of people are going out.
It's because they weren't yep.
No, G.
Okay, watch out.
Cat mold G.
No, G trained to be a hole in the wall.
Oh, that sucks for her that she's now badder than you.
Which one is it?
I'm gone.
The
I'm
one
gone.
that's sitting
I'm
in
gone.
the
I'm gone.
What I jumped at?
I'm upset. I'll be real. I'm upset. I couldn't see the wall. I got faked out by the wall.
Oh Jesus!
That was
You
bad
guys are
for me.
doing great.
That was a bad performance, guys. You've got this.
Okay, the center's blowing up now.
Yeah, it's getting harder.
What was
You're
it?
doing so great, guys. You're doing so great.
Oh, which one's real?
Yellow.
30th is bad, chat. 30th is bad. I didn't realize it was. I didn't spot the wall. That's my bad. I wasn't observant enough. It's completely my bad. I fell off.
Oh, darn it, so close.
So many went out there.
Yeah, no,
literally,
you guys are good.
No, it's like these are the rounds where it's just dead. We did pretty good there. We did
We
pretty
win
good.
these.
James and I've said that. Right now we're in 7th. Maybe
Okay,
we get
we need-
7th.
No, but Aqua Axolotls are the one that are above us in the rankings. If we want 7th, we've got to beat them.
Okay.
They're our targets.
We can do that. We can do that.
We can get him.
And I believe in myself enough.
I can take an axolotl.
I could take
I
an
also
axolotl. I
believe
really
in
It's a
could.
Zach.
small bastard.
I could, yeah, exactly, right?
I could batter an axolotl in hand-to-hand combat, and I believe that.
Oh, that's what we meant by take.
I'd beat the shit out of an axolotl.
James, come on now, man. That's an animal, man.
Sorry.
That's
So
an animal,
my-
James. Okay, James. Oh, James, you didn't have to make the noise.
Oh no.
Oh,
What?
that's an Aqua. That's an Aqua.
Valkyrie fell off, bro. What happened?
Oh God, love him.
That's fine. Cool.
Cool.
Nice, nice.
Some nice ones there.
Where's next?
Yellow.
Yellow.
It's fine.
Phew.
Yellow again.
Yellow again. Just stand still. I
Yellow
think.
again.
Yellow.
God, they like that yellow now. Yellow yaks.
Hey, it's a sign. It's a sign.
The sign.
Yellow again.
This is a sign.
Me when I drive past roadworks. Blue.
Blue.
This is so good.
I love it. Oh, I love Hole in the Wall so much. It's just such a fun game.
It is
Yeah,
fun.
it's great. This is fun.
Did you ever see the game show like back in the day?
Yeah, it was fun.
Bang it.
It's great. I love the ones where they have like the fake wall and that doesn't give way, and then people have to jump into it,
Oh yeah.
and they just like smash against it, and then they go in the wall.
This is a jump. Oh my god, I fucked up the jump. My spring key's fucked. Jesus Christ.
Okay, there's an arrow. Open it.
No, no, no.
I'm actually so pissed. That's so bad. I'm fucking underperforming. My bad. My sprint key, I've noticed it before on this keyboard, but I didn't say anything because I was like, I couldn't tell. But like, it is absolutely, it's something, it's inconsistent. I've noticed, like, I press it and it doesn't always, like then, like, now it's not working. If I do, you know. It's a little bit fucked. It's a bit annoying. A little bit pissed about that, but I digress. Yeah, like there. I fucking pressed it that time. I think it's because I'm pressing shift before I press W, maybe. But no, I'm holding down shift right now and it's working. I don't get it. It's a bit weird.
I got out to so many people. You're doing great.
You guys doing well.
Oh god, there goes a lot of them. There goes a lot of them.
Is that what carrying? That what carrying?
God.
Oh no, I died.
You got top
Second.
3. That's so
Bro,
big.
you got like second. You're fine.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Gizzy. Oh.
Pretty well.
Alright, one more big round. Axolotls, they're only like 85, well, 75 points on us, so...
Yeah, and I won't fail at like the easiest wall this time.
It's all good, man. You're doing great.
I appreciate that, James. I appreciate that,
I want
James.
all of our chats going crazy.
Scream!
It's my favorite game.
Scream! You need to scream.
Perhaps we get 8th.
Perhaps we get 8th.
Do we really need to scream?
My guys are screaming.
This is already quicker than before, right?
Manifolders are screaming. I don't think so. Alright, cool. We're not last.
Good start.
There we go.
Purple.
Okay, that's a quite generous wall there, I'll be honest.
It's a nice wall. It's a nice wall.
That's a nice wall.
Green.
Thank you.
All speeds increasing.
Green again.
Okay.
Yet again.
Oh my god. I might game fucking lag for a second there. I'm still in.
Good. Okay, it's fake. He's blue. Yeah, it's blue.
Yeah, it's this one. It's a nice wall.
Luckily, that was a very nice wall, yeah.
That one's I think that has more space than wall.
Oh, same with this
Thank
one.
God it happened again because I was really close to that. I got very lucky there. But purple.
Okay, big one.
Okay, there we go. Jesus
Okay, I
Christ.
actually made a big one for the first fucking time.
Nicely done.
Cool.
Are we all still in?
Yeah, we're all still in.
Yep.
This is huge.
Jug. Aha. Oops. Sorry, my bad. Stay focused, man.
Okay, this is a hard one.
No, it's just around the side. Same thing again, just stick to the side instead of jumping. Or just jump, fuck it. I mean, hey. Ain't no one gonna tell you different.
Yo, live your life.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
Bye-bye, Joey Graceffa.
Oh.
Oh.
It's this one.
Cool, nice.
Oh no, I got fucked. Sorry,
It's all good, James. A lot of people went out that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 left of Axolotls, so we're kind of even with them at the moment.
That's fine. Cool. These walls are pretty fast.
Ludwig's out.
Those are fake.
No, I fell.
I'm good, I'm still alive. And RT is still alive. RT on the right.
It's on the right? Ah, I'm not gonna make it. Oh, it kept me in the air a while. It kept me in the air a while.
How the fuck? No, I lost. L.
I got knocked off, but I was in the air a while. The wall bounced me.
Nice.
I
got third. I'll take it.
We came 5th?
Yo!
Yes!
Yay.
We fucking did it, boys!
We did actually really good
We
there.
had 2 really good rounds.
And the most important thing, we did better than Axolotls off that last game.
By a way. Rambo did well, actually, though.
Oh, I got 1,065. Darn it.
Oh, damn. I don't know what I got yet.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, sorry, I fell off.
Yeah, I did not do great. I did really bad the first couple of rounds.
in my books. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's not my forte. My apologies.
Oh, we're tightening the gap, but we got a bit to go.
They're really far away.
We got a bit to go.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit. Wait, how much?
Like 1,500 odd.
It's doable.
Oh, that was intense. I love that. That was so good.
That was fun. That was really fun.
It's like, when do you think we'll get the MCC where it's just 8 rounds of hole in the wall and nothing else?
I'd play in it.
I would play that.
Hey, that'd be amazing.
What are we saying next? Parkour tag, or do you want that for the finale?
I'll tell you what's next. 7th.
So true. So, James, I'll be real with you. Sands of Time will be our Sands of Time finale is our best bet of getting the most points. Like, especially because the point differential between
Most
teams.
variability.
Say again.
Oh, I was saying the most variability in that one for the points.
True, and also just like the point differential's the highest. You can absolutely smash another team. Okay. So I say we probably want a Sands finale. So I say we go parkour tag next. Because like, as much as parkour tags, I enjoy it. It's fun. We won't get like the point difference. The points just don't, they don't really like.
Yeah, because everyone plays against everyone. So
it doesn't really work.
Should we designate like a keeper for Sands of Time yet?
We definitely should, but I don't. James, how would you now? In my experience, when it's someone's first time, you make them be the sand keeper. Would you be the keeper of sand?
Yeah, what does that mean? What do I do?
You collect sand and put it in the timer. That is your sole purpose. You collect sand. You make sure the timer's not too low. You collect sand. Put it in the timer.
I'll be the sand bitch.
And then there's levers around the room, the sand room. You can use those to grab like bonus coins. Not only that, James, let me tell you something else. And you can have this one for free. There's also a puzzle room that you can have a go at. Because it's right off. Yeah, you can be the sand bitch.
I'll be the... Well, you don't need to say it like that.
You absolutely said it like that first.
I know, but I dive? I didn't want you to call me a bitch.
James.
Oh, can we do parkour tag?
Who would you like to
parkour tag now?
Who would you like to call you a bitch, James? Who?
In Sands of Time, Jack, can I jump for the blue one? That's the only one I know where it is.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so they're going for Sands of Time at the mo. Oh.
Well, what happened?
Wait, where is it? Where do I?
I'm in the arena.
Yep. Oh, parkour tag.
Where is that?
Okay.
Oh, motherfuckers in sands.
In the arena. All right.
Ultra adhesive.
Oh, is that just keep?
I think we're doing parkour tag.
Looks like it.
The chickens are deciding the next round.
There's no way that build
I didn't notice the chickens up top.
Perhaps
they're taking it.
This is the way society actually works. This is the model of real life society, the way it actually is. The chickens are up top making the decisions, man. That's what I'm saying.
Colonel Sanders was right. We should have eaten them.
We didn't know.
Okay. Do not make me hunt, please. I swear to God, please.
That's fine, James. You don't have to hunt.
we get to play around with the arena as well now. You can follow through.
Well, I have an idea, and I've mentioned it before. The AFK strap. I'm going to put a message in chat saying AFK at the beginning of the game, and then I'm going to stand still. Right?
Okay.
Now, I want one of you to head out left and the other one to head out right and get into the corners of the map, the furthest corners, and then we all move anti-clockwise. Trust me.
Are you gonna? Do you think maybe they will know that you're not going AFK at the start of every round? After maybe 1 or 2 rounds.
You'll see. And if they come for me, I feel like the beginning is the best place to just start running from.
Who's hunting?
I'm happy to hunt.
Okay.
I'm not the best hunter, but I'm happy to do
I'm not amazing, but I'm confident enough that I'll be okay.
I think you're going to be the best hunter, Jack, me, and then probably, unless James wants to give it a go, me and...
I must admit, my sprint key is...
James, if you want to give hunting a go, if you want to give at least one shot.
I really don't.
Oh, okay, all right, then that's fine.
If you don't want to as well, I will.
No, it's fine.
I'll do however many is my maximum, and then you guys can split the rest between yourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
We should focus you in on the teams we want to beat. So I think as soon as Aqua comes up, you get on Aqua.
Cool. I'm cool with that. I definitely want to punch Elwig, type Elwig in chat, and then continue to beat the rest of the team.
Also, my strat will not work against these guys because G knows. G knows my strat. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Get him, Jack. Go on.
I'm gonna do it. AFK.
I'm probably gonna go
I really like that at the start of every single round it will say AFK.
No, I won't. Okay.
Watch out, they're coming to the AFK. They're coming to James.
Okay, I'm running. Go clockwise, guys.
Wait, clockwise. Oh, okay.
That did not work.
That's okay. Right now, what way do we go?
Hold on.
Can you
still
spectate me?
The airport,
yeah, there's one behind you, Velvet. It's behind you.
How's it been going?
I'm just gonna try and run the opposite direction.
They're low down currently.
Oh, I see them. I see them.
Yeah, right.
Oh god, I'm dead. I'm
right
dead.
behind you. No, you go under. You're doing well.
I'm just trying to keep away from you.
Run.
They're right on you still.
I see. Thank you.
They're just spamming.
Okay.
This is the closest they've been.
No.
No, you did great. You're still doing great. You are doing so fucking well right now.
Yeah, like fair play to you, Jesus.
Okay, you got
did they get me?
got one alive. Okay, G's on your turn.
Run.
Gee, I
Run.
shit.
Oh,
I
it's
couldn't
not
get
That
it.
scared the shit out of me at the end.
I couldn't get Hannah, but the rest of them I got.
Okay, the AFK strat did not work. We will not be doing that anymore.
God. That scared
Unless
the
you
shit
think
out of me
it's-
when the sound effect played. Oh.
It's fine to lag back for like a tiny, like a small amount of time.
Honestly, I think Red.
but-
James,
How
are
many
you
did you
back?
get, Jack?
No, they're holding it up, James, because they think you're actually AFK.
James. Maybe don't do the AFK strat. Scott is now genuinely concerned.
No. You should do it again next round just to see what they think.
Did I spoil it? My bad. Wait, orange ocelots. Do you want to go?
I can give it a go.
Oh, sorry, shit.
Okay.
Sorry, no one was
No,
saying
you're good,
anything.
you're good.
My bad. AFK.
Okay, I'm
Okay, I need to not get so into the game that like I jump scare myself when the game ends.
Okay, it's Gummy coming this way. All right, cool.
Gummy.
That's what their name is, right?
Gummy.
Goomy.
Gummy.
Difference.
Gummy Bear.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, they're at the opposite end.
Okay, that's cool.
They're coming to me. I think.
Yeah.
So run away from me.
Keep going this way, James.
Okay.
They got me.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta split up. I'm going this way. Good luck.
Split up. I don't see where she's at. Oh, watch out! Right by you, RT. Right by you, RT. Keep running. Go right. Go. Oh.
No, I was trying it.
James.
Okay, go on, James.
That way. No, turn around. Go.
Oh,
Keep going.
God, give me the noob.
Keep running.
Keep running. Just keep running.
Master of the
Just
hunt,
keep running.
baby.
Keep running.
Keep going that way.
Very nice circle there. Very nice circle. Through him off a little. Come on.
Keep going.
Come on. Keep going.
That way.
James,
That way,
you're good.
that way,
You're
that
good,
way.
James.
Got the high
James, you're the.
Oh.
It's fine. We still won. We
How
still won.
close was I?
Oh, we won that one?
You were very close to the end of the round.
Oh
there.
yeah. I smashed it. Don't worry.
5 seconds
Wow.
off.
Good job, Jack.
I went crazy,
Well done,
guys.
John.
Really.
You did so good.
Do you? Oh, this is one that we could maybe beat.
Yeah,
this?
if one of you guys wants to do it, I'm cool.
Who is it?
You give it a go,
I'll try
Velvet.
it. I'll try it. You got the next one's not Jack.
Who are we against this time?
Blue. All right, which way are you guys going?
I'm gonna go left.
I'm gonna go right.
Okay, the punk's going right.
Okay, good to know.
He's heading towards you. Oh no, he's heading towards me. Shit.
Got one.
Oh, I see him. Okay.
We're so close.
Shit, he got me.
moving.
Fuck. All right, he's going
Listen,
after.
yeah.
Oh, you're both really close together. Just try and separate. Okay, that was not maybe the way to
I
go.
jumped right into him. I didn't see him.
James, just keep going
Oh,
around.
me again!
Don't fuck up the
Come on,
parkour.
James. Work
Okay,
those
no. Oh,
legs.
he's
Come
gonna
on
cut you
now.
off. He's gonna cut you off. Fuck.
Oh, god damn it. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
He was a good
On
hunter,
that
don't
bit of
worry about
selection,
it.
if he's walking
left?
around and you know he's still following, just turn around and it'll really throw
Do you
up
have
a
anyone
loop.
left? Okay.
You can do
Sam
this,
is
Velvet.
kind of hard to get.
Yeah, Sam.
How much time?
Yeah, you got 5 seconds.
Oh, come on. Damn it. I'm not going to get it. Close.
Alright, man.
Close.
Oh,
not bad.
they
Not
were-
It's
bad.
all good. It's all good.
We're still doing
It was
good.
worth a try. It was worth a try. It's because James didn't say AFK this time. We didn't use the strat. That's why we
Yeah,
lost.
sorry, yeah, you're right. I need to AFK it again.
Yeah, you do. Oh, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
What is
I said I'd
it?
do it.
One of these rounds, I'll be the
I'm
hunter.
gonna look at my Discord
One
to
of
see if
these
I'm
are-
getting
Sorry,
smacked.
I remember distinctly someone saying I should throw myself at
It's
cyan,
okay,
so I was like,
it's
right.
I thought they said aqua, but same difference.
Oh, we have an ender pearl this time.
You always had that.
We always.
What?
So that
It
tells
tells
you where
you-
the runner is when you right click it.
Oh my
They're coming
god.
to me. They're coming to me.
Okay, I'm just lagging a bit behind you.
So you want to
Oh, I got
spot that
hit.
ender pearl whenever it's off charge, basically. It'll help you out.
They're coming to you, James. Coming to you, James. Wrong way.
Oh my god, I thought I tricked them.
The way it should be.
Oh no.
RT, they're headed to you. They're right. They're trying to cut you off. They're cutting you off. Run. Keep running that way.
That's all good. We still won. We still won.
Oh, we won.
Nice.
Yeah, I got them.
Jack's cracked.
Oh, fucking well done, man. Okay, we're one behind Aqua Axolotl here, by the way.
It's tense.
Nice.
We're doing great.
I can hunt one more time, so I'll try to think. Who have we not been against?
Use it for Aqua.
Well, this was Aqua, James.
This was Cyan.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah.
My bad. I'll use it on Aqua. My brain just went, yep, that's the one I should hunt. That's why RT said that. I get it now.
You're good. Okay, pink parrots.
Yeah, someone else get that.
RT, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna give it a shot. Wish me luck, lads.
You can do it, man.
I believe in you, RT.
You can do it.
Pink parrots.
I believe in you. I believe so much.
You got this.
Must hunt.
Okay, I'm going
to go right.
I'll go left.
I went sort of
They're
middle.
going left.
They're
going left. They're going to you.
Yeah, try and stay away from each other if we can, by the way. We don't want to group up. Oh my god. I did a bad
we've
jump.
grouped up a little bit.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, they're by you.
Yep, I made a terrible jump, and now they're probably going to get me. No, shit. Yeah, no, they made the jump. James, oh no, they're not near you at all. James, they're heading towards you.
Who they...
Oh no, you read Velvet. Sorry, fucking hell. But my brain. I thought you were James.
Got two.
They're close. They're pretty close on you. You're making them jumps tight, bro. They fell, so you've got a little bit of room now.
Yeah, we got time.
Oh, they're cutting you off. Don't go. Maybe turn around. Okay, they're after James now.
How far are they?
Perfect.
Quite far. Maybe you two don't. Yeah, I can say Velvet. Start going the other way.
Oh shit.
I've lost them. Yeah, they're just behind James. It's all good. It's all good.
Where?
They're ages away from you.
Coming from your left.
I almost got him. I missed him at one swing.
It's all good. Tie.
I got two.
How many did you get?
Got two.
Nice.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not
that's
bad
pretty
at
good.
Lime.
Okay.
Lime.
You can try?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, this is the lowest team. So, guys, we're doing so well.
We are. We're doing well.
We're fourth overall at the mo. Like that's actually really good.
Yeah, that's really good. Keep it up. I'm gonna go right again.
I'm going left.
I will go.
Okay, they're coming to the left.
Are they? No, they're going to the... they are now,
to their left, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Tell me if they're on me.
I don't think they are.
Where are they? Okay, we're about to cross paths.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, they're behind me.
Oh, yeah, they're behind you. Ooh.
They're right on you.
Yeah, they're right on you.
Oh my god, we're running together. I'm gonna run back.
Oh, got them all.
Nice, man.
Let's go. We're all alive.
Yeah, like I say, we've won regardless, but let's try and stay alive just for the points.
I'm right behind you, Jack.
Cool.
Oh,
where are they?
We were the first.
Oh, they're heading to me now.
I think.
Oh, they gave up on me. Yes, I got away.
Okay, they're after you now, James.
Oh my god, I'm about to die.
They're a while away, man. You're fine.
Keep going. You can hang in there. We can all survive this one. We're gonna make it out together. We're not gonna leave anyone behind.
Fucking hell, that scared the life out of me.
Let's fucking go, man.
Hey, nice one, boys.
Wow.
That's nicely done.
Let's fucking go. That's so sick.
Good. Purple.
Still not Aqua Axolotls.
These guys will be
Do you want me
good.
to try purple?
Honestly, like Aqua probably aren't going to be as good, even though we want to beat them.
Okay.
I think I'm more likely to beat these.
Jack, you're wrong.
I think these guys, I think, are going to be better. I know. One of you guys is more likely to beat Aqua. Like, they're not Minecraft players.
Okay, I'm gonna go right again. I quite like.
I think
right.
these are going to be good.
I can take Aqua.
They're in the middle, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, they're coming.
I'm running left.
Oh my god. Okay, they just dropped at me. I'm gone.
Can you let me know where they are?
Yeah, they're behind you, James. They're kind of on the ground behind you. They're coming up. They're basically retracing your jumps now. They're retracing your jumps. They're right on you. Keep going. They're still chasing you.
Me around circles around here.
They're coming up those steps now. Jesus Christ, good man, James. Keep going. Keep trying to climb higher. Oh my god, like they were just on you.
Okay,
they
help
were
me.
on you that entire time.
Oh my god, these guys are
they're
good. What is this fucking sprint thing? What the fuck was that?
It fell.
Okay, they're on you.
Yeah.
What?
They found you, Velvet. Jack, you alright?
Yeah,
good,
sorry,
but it's
I had a couple of moments.
Okay. Yeah, they're very low.
Okay, go on, Velvet. Yeah, you got a bit of distance. They're closing it. A few more seconds. I think you're good. I think you're good.
Fuck!
Well,
Oh,
nicely done.
shit! I got
How many
fucking
did you
teased. I got 2 of them, but still.
Jesus.
That sucked.
It's okay. We drew that. That's good.
I'm gonna go this round.
Okay, green geckos.
The final round.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's Aqua for the final round.
Aqua's the final one. It's raining in the stars.
You got Aqua, RT. You got Aqua.
Yeah, I'll do
You're
Aqua.
gonna destroy them.
I'll get him.
You're gonna get them all within 5 seconds, I think, RT.
Okay,
I'm just gonna, like, the game is gonna start and they just fall over. It's like, Mike, how did he do that?
They're
And I'll
heading
quickly
towards
take out
me.
the action replay.
Where is he?
They're on
me.
Velvet.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, they're on Jack. Sorry, Jack's with us, yeah.
So,
Has he switched attention yet?
nope,
No.
still me.
Still on you.
Cut me off. They got me. They're heading towards.
Okay, they're going for you, James.
Yeah, you, James. James, you're going the wrong way.
Oh God, that was a bit too late.
Oh,
Say,
God.
yeah, be careful, be careful, be careful.
Okay, no,
He's gonna try and cut you off. Shit.
Oh, my. How did he get me from there?
Good path
no.
then.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah, he did well for us.
How
Really
did
well.
he get me? What was the obelisk supposed to do, by the way? Because that was really teased in, like, the promo video.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't actually know.
I don't think it does. I genuinely think they just made a thing and they're like, wouldn't it be funny if we just really make it sound cool and it's just a
You can
thing?
do it, Velvet.
Like, it's just an obelisk, yeah. I thought there was going to be something
Not bad,
crazy
not bad,
happening with
not
it.
bad.
You got 2.
Fucking good try.
You did great. All right, this is the big one. This is the important one.
Come on, RT. You got this.
Ah, let me at him.
You got this, man. Fucking
Thank
send
you.
it. Perhaps
Thank
we
you.
get 7.
Perhaps!
We can do it. I believe. I believe.
We're a good way above Aqua, to be fair. No, actually, we're not. It's really not that big of a point difference. I thought it'd be bigger.
Okay, Aimsy's hunting. I'm gonna go right.
I see him.
Where are they? What side? What side?
Right.
On me. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
already
careful,
gone.
Jack.
Fuck.
I'm running backwards, Jack.
Cool.
They're coming to you, Jack.
Yeah, cool. It's all good.
Yeah, on your
Okay, I'm
turn,
going to
Jack.
the-
Really close.
Are they still after Jack?
Yep. Oh,
They've gone a
shit.
bit middle. Gone a bit central.
Oh!
They cut you off.
Yeah, cut me off. Yeah, clever. Should have seen that coming.
You got a good bit of distance here.
They're going through central to get to you, though. Oh, yeah, good,
Yeah.
good turn, good turn. Oh,
they're
God, that's
on
close.
you. They are on you.
Yeah, it was close.
Oh, no. No. Aimsy's
Oh.
in the middle.
I almost got him.
Amy's
cutting me
strat's
off?
pretty good. Trying
Are they
to.
cutting me off?
I don't think she's gonna. Oh, no, yeah, she is. Oh, no, she missed. She's got you now.
Oh, damn it.
Shit.
Oh,
That was good. She was very, very good.
Got that work. That's 2.
Fucking smashed that, to be fair.
How can we watch you, RT?
Oh, we can't.
I don't know.
Oh, wait, we can. You can use the thing in the teleportation menu.
Ah.
Well done, man.
Oh, God, we got 2.
7th overall.
Not
Yeah, you
bad.
did sick.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Jesus Christ. That was intense.
That was good.
That was fun. Now it's time to win with Sands of Time. We saved the best to last.
It's not my
Still
favorite
more-
game,
still
but
more-
it is our best chance. It is our best chance.
Build
best
more time.
chance.
Build more time.
Fuck
Oh,
you!
no, not
I will
Build
never
Mart.
play Build Mart.
It's got to be Sands of Time. Yeah, nicely done. Nicely done.
Gumi.
Oh, we're so close on 7. Just a few more points.
How close is it?
1,700. But
It's
Sands of Time has a
doable in
huge-
Sands. It is doable.
Yeah, like there's huge variance in
Yeah,
Sands
if,
of Time.
if we do a really good
can win.
Sands game, we
Alright, I'm
could
back.
honestly
Yeah,
take 7.
and it's really possible to just bungle Sands of Time as well and just like have it just shut out.
Oh,
early.
we can just lose, but like we'll try our best not to.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm being honest. I would like some Skyrim music.
RT?
Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da,
At the beginning
Who
of
swore
this
down?
game,
da-da-da,
we were 10. Play it with me. We were 10.
We were 10th!
After round 3, we made the treacherous climb up to 9th. We were 9th.
We were 9th!
But that was not enough, nay. For it never quite did. points. For perhaps we will get a.
Perhaps we will get a.
But there was a fable of a great man called James Marriott and his team of wonderful boys who asked themselves the question, what if we got 7th? Say it with me.
What if we got 7th?
We're about to find out. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
You can start with this.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine.
I was getting really into it.
Fantastic job. You did a fantastic job. Just
Thank
like us, for the record. Everyone doubted us. Did you
Everyone
watch the
doubted
analysis videos?
No.
Everyone doubted us.
Did they?
Everyone. My mom texted me. She said, "You're gonna suck, you piece of shit."
I believe that. I believe
I
that.
blocked her.
She knows you well. She knows you well.
Talk to me.
My parents don't know what YouTube is. They're very confused by my job.
James Marriott. Trauma dumping mid MCC.
Okay.
Very.
Build Mart,
Shit goes
right?
hard. Shit
Build
goes
Mart.
hard.
Okay, everyone, focus. Build Mart.
Maybe pour me a bit.
We need sand.
Yeah.
Wait, we got a dunk? Oh, you get to dunk someone.
That's enough.
SOT, suck on titties, baby.
That's enough.
Jesus Christ.
Everyone's voting for SOT. BM is for babies. Yeah, so is SOT, sucking on titties.
There's no one going to
no
build
way.
Mart. There's like archers like lined up just watching build Mart.
Well, there's so many question marks in the chat. Naturally, SOT could only stand for sucking on titties. Naturally, it could. Take Buildmart out of game, please. God, people do not like it. Naturally, we go for SOT. I'm counting chickens right now. Let's go. Let's fucking do this.
No. Did you dunk anyone? Did we have a dunk? I thought we did.
Nope.
It doesn't really matter. We got SOT sucking on titties anyway.
Okay.
Jesus.
Make sure our time doesn't run out, James.
Basically, we will get sand. We will deliver it to
Hey guys,
you.
I'm back.
Hey
Welcome
James.
back.
James, so there's gonna be sand all around this room. You want to put it in that big timer over there to make sure we never run out of
Where's
time?
the timer?
The big thing in the middle.
How do I
It's-
place it in the timer? Like right-click the thing underneath it, I guess?
yeah, the little
Yes, at the
arrow. Yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
Yeah, there's an arrow where you place it.
And
Any
then-
other things I've got to do or think about?
Flick the levers in this room. They'll get some of them will dispense coins. You might like that's definitely
Yep.
like a secondary thing. Time is your absolute thing. And then there's gonna be a red room that has like a word puzzle in it somewhere adjacent to this main
I
room.
love words, man. I fucking
Go
love
try and do the
words.
word puzzle. Your chat's always a good way of, you know.
I'm good.
I'm
at
gonna
the
jump in the
word
water.
puzzle, but yeah, if James wants to do it, that's fine.
Yeah, no, you
Just
can
so
always
you
give it a
know,
go. It's just it's nearby to
got
the
a-
sand,
yeah.
so it's something
I've
safe
got
for
a
James
degree
to
in
do.
2 languages that aren't English, but I'll try my best.
But also, James,
I'm
while
done.
you're doing it, just make sure you don't let the sand go down too low. It's easy to get distracted while you're trying to do it.
So I need it in like the green before even attempting that run, basically.
Yeah,
I would
it
say
can
so,
hold
yeah,
2 minutes
absolutely.
at a time. It can hold 2 minutes. We'll come back and drop sand off as we get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going for the-
James,
don't go
if you're
for the-
running low on sand, shout us. Like the second you don't have any sand in your inventory, just let us know so we can run back and give it you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You just have to be very
Don't go for the
diligent
blue
about
key.
sand.
Yeah, you can get so much money on this if you're smart with sand. Like it's a long round. I think you get I think it's 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the way, I'm going for the blue key in the water.
Yeah, it's
so
fine.
don't
That's
go there.
absolutely fine. That's all
I
good.
tried telling chat I'm the sand daddy, and then it didn't let me.
No, you're the sand bitch, man.
No.
Sand bitch.
Ant
Sand
Frost
bitch.
said-
Sand.
Frost suggested.
Where will the sand appear? Just everywhere?
It's just around this room.
All
Like, you can
around.
see it in corners. Like
In the
just
tunnels.
kind of look around the
Okay,
room. You can
30
see sand,
seconds.
like scattered.
All right, let's have it, guys. Let's have it.
Okay, I'm gonna try and go off in that right corridor there with that big open entrance.
Okay, I'm
gonna
going-
do
Is that
that
on
I'm going
seconds,
middle.
by the way? It's the 120
Going on the water.
seconds.
What?
Guys, does the 120 mean seconds? Okay,
Yes.
cool. This must be a long game.
If our time runs out, we don't get any of the coins unless you claim them. I think.
Yeah, you have to actually make it out or you lose all the coins.
Guys, my resource
And
pack
if you
didn't
don't-
load. Should I be
don't die.
concerned?
Don't die,
Sorry?
James.
Guys, my resource pack
Oh,
didn't
how-
load.
how
Should I
would
be
I die?
concerned?
My
My hacks didn't load. Should I be concerned?
I think you might be
Will there be
okay.
mobs? Will
I'd
there be
hope
mobs
so.
there?
You can say no
Will
that
we
you're not
be on?
ready if you want to relog or something.
Someone said yes.
Oh, sorry. That was me. I thought it was individual.
James has no time. It's
Well,
like we're
yeah,
fucking
We're good.
going.
We're good.
You're
then?
ready
I've
now.
not got time. I've
Right.
only got sand. Am I right, fellas? Have a good one.
All right.
Thank you,
Well,
James. Thank you, James. I love James. Also, be sure to mark off the rooms you've been in. Like,
time.
mark off rooms you've been in and explored, because
I
like
heard someone
otherwise.
say about using carpets on the left-hand side of rooms for some reason. So
Emperor suggested to offhand the
Oh, that's
torches.
clever actually. I always offhand the torches. Yeah, yeah. If you got Optifine installed, it actually gives you some lighting too.
okay, 10
I'm going this one here.
I'm gonna pick up some torches along the way. I found a rusty key already, just on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna find those everywhere, man.
Okay. Oh god, is this the puzzle room? Reset puzzle?
Okay.
Oh, it's a sliding puzzle.
It's early on, so I'm just gonna risk going down there. Okay.
Blue loves blue, or so I'm told.
Okay, that was a bad idea.
Gold.
I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a
Is this one I
mistake.
can break? No.
Oh my god,
Cool.
the sound. Yeah, that's terrifying. Okay.
Cool.
How do I? Oh, do I drop it in? Okay.
What is this?
Cool.
I'm gonna have to reset this puzzle. Oh no, I think I've already botched it. Like, there's a puzzle here. I might just leave it for now.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah. Okay. Let me use the reset. Hang on. Let's try it.
James, you don't drop the sand. James, you have to right-click the sand.
James, oh yeah, right click the sound. God, thank you, Phil. I love
Right-click
Phil.
the sand,
I love
right-click
Phil's.
the
I love Phil's. I love Phil's. Thank you, Phil. I love you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Go
You
have fun
saved
with
my
your
life.
wife, Phil. It's weird.
This is
Sorry.
why I need Phil.
Sounded weird as fuck. I don't know why I said it like that.
So my focus should be still sand, yeah?
Shit. Well, my fucking
Yes.
sprint. Oh my god. Okay, wait.
This
But-
is the puzzle room.
Please, please, please. Oh my god. Fucking please. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop if I die. Fuck. Stop! Stop!
I've
James.
not got much sand.
James.
Okay, that's kind of.
James, can you? Yeah. Fuck's
Hang
sake.
on, okay, I'm gonna like screw this puzzle here. I'm gonna just leave. Like,
My fucking sprint
yeah.
key is so inconsistent. It's pissing me off.
Yeah, I'm running out of sand, guys. So I need more.
Yeah, James. If you,
Actually, I have no sand at the moment. I was trying to do a slide puzzle.
3 pieces. If someone can, I'm also trapped, so I really need like someone.
I don't know how to do that, so I'm not gonna be the one who does it.
You just need 2. I think you need 1 or 2 sands to come free me. That's it.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll go get some. Hold on.
Cheers,
But
James.
we are running out of sand. I really
That's
need
all good.
more,
Yeah,
guys.
I can go get more from where I died when I'm free.
Hey,
Yeah,
what
got
are these
2
rooms?
sand. Where's...
Find like gold and
Oh, it's because
armor.
my sprint is on toggle. Fuck's sake. No wonder. That's why my sprint is fucking weird.
Fucking crap.
That's so annoying. Okay, whatever.
Oh no.
That's not good. This is not good.
That's not good. I got knocked by a Ravager.
Are we good with sand right
Bollocks.
now?
No,
We might be in trouble.
yeah, we're not good right now
Okay.
because we really need to be free.
Do I need to do something?
Okay, I can free you. I've got 5 sand.
Absolute disaster.
Okay, how do I come and free you guys?
You just got. Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
It's James.
Okay,
Right,
sorry, guys.
We're good. So, no, you're all good. You're all good. It's my fucking fault
Is
for
anyone-
dying. Such stupid shit. Right, I'll go get.
Are we good on time?
Yeah, we're pretty good right now. James, there's some sand
I
in the
found
room.
the green vault. I found the green
sand in
vault.
where? Sorry.
There's sand like in the room still. You've still got sand in here, so don't stress too much.
I can't find it. I honestly I'm a bit worried. I can't find any.
If you need to know where the green vault is.
Oh god, there's like. There's
Yeah, if
money
I
down there, but
find it,
there's
I'll
Ravagers.
shout you. Red.
Well, I'm telling you I found it. I'm telling you I found it.
Oh, okay.
Not that way. That's been gone
The
that
green
way.
one is on the southeast
Nothing in
corner.
there.
I died in.
Oh, hey Jack, how you doing?
Have you explored this bit, Artie? Because I died in here. so I'm
No,
just
I
like-
haven't been in here yet.
Okay, I will continue exploring this bit because I was already in
Yeah,
here.
I'll take this
Yeah.
way.
I've got 5 sand.
Okay, the blue.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah,
There's a
Artie,
jumpy puzzle across the lava.
yeah,
here.
Artie, that's where I died. So I'm gonna go try and grab
Okay,
my.
I
get my
think
shit.
I've run out of sand here now.
Okay, I've got
I'm taking my time. I'm going carefully.
Yeah, okay.
I got the money in the middle.
Yeah, the problem is you're probably gonna die.
I need sand, guys. Anyone got any?
Yeah,
need
I've got a
time? You
little
need
bit, James.
sand?
I'm gonna run it back to you. Artie, yeah.
I'm just trying. Here, get my money, Jack. Get my money.
Okay.
Good. That's all right. We still got that.
Right, James, I'm gonna come back with 5 sand, okay?
I've got a rusty key. I don't know what that does.
Are we good on
It's just
time?
for certain vault doors. Yeah, James, how much time we got?
We're at half time.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
There's literally no sand.
I'm heading back over. Don't worry. I've got sand for you.
I'm in prison at the Mo. If you can free me.
Yeah. I'll free you and then I'll throw down the sand.
Thanks.
What do I do now? Should I try the word puzzle if we're running out of sand or what?
No. There will still be plenty. You still need to. I mean, like, sure, but like, you got to be on top of sand. Like, try and maybe search like really early parts of tunnels. Like, don't go too deep because we need you. But like,
Hey, Jack.
I'm
Okay.
running really low on time, guys.
yeah, don't worry, James. I've got.
Oh,
sand.
it sounds 30 seconds
literally
actually. It
also
sounds 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
We're good. Right, babe. Yeah, Velvet, definitely come and bring some sand if you got any.
Okay, I'm coming back, but someone else. I'm not.
I don't worry. I put in a lot more. I just gave us a lot more time, but like we need to get on that.
Going
now.
on this way.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna try that.
Okay, some sand here.
Right, zoom down this way again. You did that left corridor. Was there anything there?
What?
As our time is going down, we need more.
Yeah, I got sand. Who needs?
Yeah, come bring it to the center.
Chuck it to me.
There you go, James.
Thank you.
Oh, there's a key. There's a door there.
That's loads.
I need a
Nice.
key.
Okay, where's the blood possible?
Tell me if you find the blue. Has anyone found the blue door?
Oh, it's here, James. James. With me.
Okay, cool.
No, I'm not gonna.
Oh, I think I did. I think I found where it should be. Yeah, I think RT's near it.
Okay, where is it?
The blue door?
But we need to explore new areas. We're all going down the same fucking areas.
Yeah.
So like,
Okay.
please
Wait,
split up a little
Jack,
bit.
is the blue door found?
I think it's down. I think it might be down there. I started noticing blue walls.
I found like a brown door down here, but
What? Okay. Not sure where you mean exactly. Oh.
only right here.
Okay, time was still good on time.
Good, James. Shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for some more sand.
Yeah, I did find it. Apparently, it's in the tunnel that RT's in.
Oh, wait, there's a sand here?
Okay, well, I got the blue key, so I'll go for that next.
Fucking hell!
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
You know, I'm not gonna bother with that.
I got a block of sand.
Okay, cool, thank you. Could you chuck it to me actually? I can unlock a door with that.
The sand?
James, I would say don't do that.
Okay.
We don't want to waste sand on it because we're running pretty low and we want to maintain time. God Almighty, I'm bad at this.
Yeah, I gotta keep going.
Yeah,
How are we on time?
Not doing good on time, guys.
Do you need us to come back? I have one block of sand.
I've put one in, but I could use more.
I got the green
God
vault key.
Almighty, why do I suck at this so bad?
Okay, green vault is. I spammed a bunch of blue wool around.
Yeah, I spotted it. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, there's a bunch of blue wall around it.
I'm running as fast as I can. I have a block of sand too.
60 seconds.
Okay, we're not.
Okay.
God Almighty, this is dire.
I'll give you the green vault key if you've been to it before, right? I'm gonna bring it back.
Oh my
Are we out
God,
of time?
fuck this.
Wait, is that sand?
If someone wants to try
We're
this
running out
room,
of time.
someone do it because I'm getting fucking
Got
pissed.
2 blocks of sand.
Yeah, just chuck it in.
Wait, where's the blue one, Jack?
The blue one, it's
Block of sand right
it's
there. No,
basically
that's
right. Come down from the exit and it's on the right. It's like the
Okay,
one
I'm
that's.
following you.
We are short on time.
That no, the
30
other one.
seconds.
This is the green. This is the green.
We have 30 seconds on time, guys, and no sand.
Okay, I don't think we're gonna have enough time to. Yeah.
There,
No.
I have the green key, but yeah, do we just go? Do
There's
we just
surely
go?
got to be sand kicking about.
I got a bit and I got some coins.
Yeah. Okay, James, put the sand in.
Okay, where's the green one? Am I in the right way?
No,
James.
RT, no.
Where are you?
How much time?
30 seconds.
Where are you? I have the green key. Where am I going? Who am I going towards?
James.
15 seconds, guys.
Oh fuck's sake! No, we need to leave. We need to fucking leave.
Okay, go. Let's go.
We have to just go. All right.
No.
Leave.
We need to go now,
Where's the
guys. We
exit?
have 15 seconds.
I thought you had sand, James. Sorry.
Go.
I had one.
Oh
Where's
shit.
the fucking exit?
I'm.
It's the big,
Oh, it's the other
big
side.
portal.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
We're locked. Fuck
I
it.
ran out.
We're done.
That's unfortunate. I ran to the wrong side of the room.
We get. Who's in the water?
I ran to the wrong side of the room.
It's whatever.
Sorry there, guys.
It's all good.
That was tough.
That was hard.
No worries.
GG though, lads. We did our best.
We did alright. We did
Yeah.
alright. We tried our hardest. We tried our freaking hardest. That's all that matters.
Oh, axolotls are also out, by the way.
Yeah, but they're
Are
not.
they?
They ain't in the cage, so that means they probably got more than us because we.
Yeah, they might
two
have
of us
more
got caged.
sand.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
Not last overall. No, it appears pink got completely locked out, so we are not last at least. Guys.
Oh, that's good.
Orange also 2 of them.
See how it goes.
Luckily, you guys had them like a decent amount. Red, you seem to have the most coins, so
Got some coins.
Nice.
we're doing okay.
That was good fun. That was still good
Unless
fun.
we're in dodgeball,
Really
I
enjoyed
think
that.
that's the end of that.
Yep. I don't think we're in dodgeball, but fuck it.
Well, you never know. We have to see those scores.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, who knows how fucking
Twist of
Sam's
fate.
Who knows? Who knows? You never know with this thing.
I'm gonna say it one more time.
James.
Perhaps we get 8th.
Perhaps we get it. Second
You
best
know what?
at
I think
losing.
it's written.
The Elder Scrolls music's kind of dying.
They always say first
we
the
can only
worst,
pour, like, a kazoo
second's
now
the
for it.
best. 8th is like by far the fucking greatest though.
Eight is not last. We're gonna get it.
8 is not last. 8 is not last.
Just you wait. The underdogs.
We're gonna do the reverse dodgeball if we get 9th or 10th though. So
Wait, really?
yeah, bottom 2 teams. No.
Okay. I was thinking. It's
I
like
have
we're
a
left.
strange feeling that like they're gonna pull some shit like that, you know. I do have
The true
I have a
underdog
very
team.
strange feeling they're gonna pull like 9th and 10th go to dodgeball.
The real underdogs.
Oh, I would love that. I kind of hope we get Nineston. I want us to take part in that.
Why do I have tomatoes?
I sure as hell can't be the best, but I can be the worst.
Anyone else got tomatoes?
No, I think people are chucking tomatoes. They get them
Yeah,
chucking
you can
them.
throw them at the jail people just to make them feel bad.
There's quite a few of us in the prison now.
Yeah.
Popping
Jail's
out
pretty full. Jail's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun time in here.
Like,
I might commit like I don't know some like I might do like prison violence.
oh, Jesus.
Not bad.
8th place means you technically only lost 1 place per game on average. That's right, we were first at the start.
Hey, we got 9th
like that
overall,
logic.
people. We got 9th.
We got 9th.
It's the
I'll
second
take it,
worst, people. The second worst.
But you know what? But you know what we got overall, boys?
8th.
Perhaps we got 8. No! We got
8th.
We got 8.
energy.
Top
Synergy.
8 achieved.
Top 8, baby.
Best at Minecraft
Not
in the world.
penultimate, but the one after that, I think that
I
is
don't know
a
who
second
Abby is. I can't spell.
Penultimate.
Top 8, Abby.
Whoa! Get fucked, Abby!
I'm moistured. I'm
Oh.
moist for the boys right now. I've moisturized my face.
Moist for the boys.
I moisturized my
What?
face. It's fucking... Ash is
That's
putting
not
up.
it.
Let's go, Red Rabbit.
We're all about to break our wrists after this, then I guess.
Oh, what?
The bridge is gone.
No more bridge.
Is
Right,
this
what place
normal?
have we come?
Oh, look at all the fireworks. That's cool. This is it. It's the final. There we go.
Where? Okay, what's the final game? Talk to me about it. What do I do?
Dodgeball. We don't play.
Well,
James.
it's dodgeball, but we kind of just watch. We're not in this one.
It's a spectating sport, James. How good are you at spectating? You like watching, James?
34!
When other two...
That's my man.
Everyone said that James Marriott will come last. Did they lie? Yes! I did
Absolutely,
not
James.
come last. Let me tell you, I need some Skyrim music for this, RT.
Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
They thought you'd come last, but they were
Da-da-da,
wrong.
da-da-da, da-da-da,
If you said he would come 39th,
da-da-da,
They too were wrong.
da-da-da-da-da-da.
yes, we got 8th, but James Marriott was not 38th.
I'm so proud. I'm so
He'll end
proud.
up in heaven, but he
Go
wasn't
on,
37.
my son. Go on. Your mammy's
That
gonna be very
old
proud
bag
now.
of tricks, but he weren't 36. Which one was I again? 34th. Okay, yeah.
I was 33rd, apparently.
Well done,
Jedi,
RT.
it don't matter. He ain't 35th.
It only took 7 MCCs, but 33rd, baby. That's 33.
You did one better than me.
33.
Apparently. 33. 3,333.
Can you say oil?
What kind of team is this? You beat me. Right as I was finishing my speech, you just
Wait, is
had
it not-
one up me, RT.
I took it away from
You
you.
fuck.
That's rude, man. That's rude, man. You were rude to him.
I do apologize.
Anyway, James, for this game, what happens is 2 others go at it, and you just watch, which I feel like will suit you.
Oh, so your wrist is gonna break again.
No,
How many
I
wrists do
won't.
you have?
I won't be
Stop fucking
partaking
crying,
too
James.
much because you know of the wrist.
Yeah, I like to watch.
Okay, which team are you rooting for?
I'm a purple guy. I'm a purple guy. Sorry, but yeah, I'm a purple guy.
The Bite of 87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm going.
Sorry, I had a moment there. It all came back.
Just get out of your system. I'm gonna go Cyan just because they did so well against
Oh
us.
no, not
They
Fire
did do
Breath,
well.
man. Cyan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for them.
I'm sorry. I can't bring myself to vote for them. I've got to go purple.
It's okay. It's okay.
I've got to go purple. It's Princess Daisy's favorite color.
moisturizer in my fucking
Hey, do you
eyes.
know what my favorite color is?
What?
Guess. Guess what my favorite color is.
Blue?
No.
Green.
Yippee!
Oh, here we go.
Purple.
Go on now, my sons.
Go on!
Go on now. Do Ireland proud.
Go purple.
I don't think any of them are Irish, but that's okay. Honorary Irish today. Go on, toast. They're taking their time. They really have to consider it.
Daisy likes purple. I like purple too, but my favorite color. Guess what
What if
mine
they
is?
just don't?
Come on, you laddies.
What if they just don't take the shot? This is it.
Guess what my
What if they
favorite
just
color
don't do
is?
it?
Is it green?
Yippee! I love the color green.
Yippee!
They're really considering this.
Purple really don't want to waste any time, man.
This is a long shot. Holy shit. He's really considering this.
I believe in them a little bit.
Get him. Just gonna take a sip of my water. I think I got time. Is there mouse?
Let's go.
My mum switches off my internet in 10 minutes.
Oh, there we go. They took the shot.
Oh. Rest in peace, rest in peace. What the fuck?
Now we wait once again. Jesus. Trying to run down the clock. There we go. So tense. On! I feel like they're accelerating the stage closing in just to like get them going.
Oh,
Hey, what are we actually doing here, by the way? I just kind of got involved.
We're distracting them.
Oh, we're distracting them. Ah, lose! My ass is shaking.
We're distracting Cyan.
Look at me clap. I'm clapping with no hands.
Oh my god.
It's working. That's the thing.
It's working because of the clap, the recoil.
They're looking. Go. The faster we do it, the more we distract
Fucking
them.
ripple in my cheeks.
Go as fast as you can.
Go. Wait.
Oh, we didn't do it as fast.
Oh god. This
Come on.
We're gonna do it. We got this.
We got to distract him. And
Oh.
Oh god.
Go purple.
Oh no.
Oh god. Oh.
Come on.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Oh,
distraction.
Yes!
Distraction.
Oh, that's so intense.
Distraction.
No.
Oh.
Oh.
Come on.
No! Come on now!
Distraction.
Crazy. We got this.
Deming!
They're so good at dodging. Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Oh god.
This is the dub. This is the win. This is the one. I feel it in my soul.
Come on, Blush.
We're distracting him enough.
Yes!
We did it. Okay.
All right, now two more times.
You guys.
Everyone breathe,
We've got a job to do.
All right, everyone breathe. Come on. We gotta get ready. We gotta get
Breathing.
those cheeks ready. Come on. Ready? 10 seconds. Let's go.
My cheeks better be red after this.
Yeah, your cheeks better be.
All right.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go!
There we go.
Go!
What the fuck? What happened?
Distract.
What
happened? I'm gonna move over to where he's aiming.
What the fuck was the noise?
Oh!
Wait. Okay.
No!
Oh damn. Our distractions isn't good enough.
Damn, sorry, I stopped for a second. I got distracted. There was a noise in the VC and it...
Oh god, that was you. It's because of you.
I'm doing it again. I'm back on my shit. I'm back on my bullshit.
Oh wait, what?
They traded? What the fuck?
Wait, did they just trade?
What happened?
Well, I'll be honest, the odds are not in our favor right now, but we're going to keep shaking our ass and it's going to work, I promise you.
Yep, we got it, we got it, we got it.
This is ludicrous.
Yep, that guy's great. I love that guy.
Easy,
I love Ludicrous. I love Ludicrous.
Shake it for the 1v3.
Oh.
I'm going crazy shaking my shit.
For the 1v3. What are you doing?
I'm going crazy.
We're going crazy.
Okay, I'm still going, but my arm is getting a little bit tired.
Oh, look at that dodge.
Look at that. See, look at the distraction.
Incredible. This wouldn't be the first time I watched two people go at it and my arm got tired.
Watch this. And...
Come on. Bushy, come on. Oh, no.
Okay.
Come on. They're all grouped up. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
Good. The sweep. The distraction is huge.
It really is, Rambo, in my case at least.
The arrow just fell.
Oh my god. There we go. Okay, we're getting more people.
They lose this.
They lose this. Come on, dodge both of them.
What if we just join the VC and start going?
Are distracting them.
Oh,
damn. Okay.
Oh, 1-1.
I would like to join the VC and just scream.
Honestly, see what happens. I think
you'd get benched.
Oh, is that frowned upon?
You'd probably get benched, yeah.
I was going to go, and then I leave. Just to see if it distracts them any, you know?
Oh my god. Okay. This is the one now. We gotta go as fast as possible, okay?
I'm going crazy right now. I mean, it definitely isn't the one, bearing in mind you needed 3 rounds to win, but you know,
it's okay.
All right, well, already this is... I'm just smacking the desk now.
What the hell is that?
Just hitting the desk. How's my wrist?
Here we go. Come on.
This is like clockwork. This is great.
God, my hand is actually I'm not sure how.
Pathetic.
I don't know how much.
Pathetic.
Hey, you're probably using your right hand.
Oh! Run! What the fuck?
What? Because you're right-handed.
Oh, I thought you were making a different joke. I'm gonna be real.
No, Amy!
I got the joke, guys. I got the joke.
How dare you, Amy?
Nice job, Jack.
I would never.
Hey, guys, I'm also using my right hand.
Oh, of course you are.
I am, look.
Jack.
I was saying because you're right.
Look,
I was
guys.
legitimately saying because you're right-handed, and then you, Amy.
Your tone of voice was literally, yeah, you're probably using your right hand. Like that's what your tone was.
Because I'm currently using my left hand.
Why?
Because I don't know.
He's left-handed. Yes!
Because I'm not left-handed. Because I want to use my left hand.
Well, I feel like no one else celebrated that quite as much as I. Yeah, I was just.
I realized. Sorry, Amy threw me off.
Listen, my bad. Okay, ready?
Turning on your auto clicker. Wait. Is it frowned upon to use an auto clicker to twerk?
Yes.
Would it be frowned upon to use tool assisted shaken? TAS.
Hey.
Would that be frowned upon?
Tool assisted shaking. I mean, I'd use it IRL,
Shake
you know.
That ass for me. Shake that ass for me. Let's go. Shake that.
Go
ass for me.
purple. Go
Shake that ass
purple.
for me.
That's Princess
Shake
Daisy's
that
favorite color,
ass
as
for
we all
me.
know.
Shake that ass for me. Shake that ass for
Guess
me.
what mine is?
That ass for me.
Is it green?
Yippee!
Fucking love that video.
Oh, it's so good.
Yippee!
Yippee!
Go purple.
Come on. Great work, Amy.
My arm just, it's so
Keep it
tired.
up. I got this.
Oh, I just tapped out completely. Fuck, my bad.
Okay. No, there goes Fire Breath Man. I don't think this is doing anything. Shut up.
Liar.
If you've said that, you're
Fire is
wrong.
doing everything. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. It's
Gaming.
3v2 now.
This is actually gaming right now.
I can't believe how well this is. They're gonna ban this from the next MCC because how well it works.
This is the new meta. This is the new strat.
I'm really worried that Cyan is actually gonna give it as a reason.
Oh my god, imagine.
Because I'm gonna be I've done this like for like 3 MCCs.
They were like shaking their asses and it really distracted me. So I'm gonna have to say it's a bad thing to do.
The first MCC that I missed is because I get benched for shaking it too much.
You know what? If I go down in history as the guy that shook it too much, I'll take it.
That's a good title. That's a good title to go down with, you know.
That's my legacy, man.
That's my legacy.
Having too much ass in them pants. That's it.
Okay. And shoot. Oh wow.
That shit happens, man. That shit happens.
I know. This has been a very long dodgeball. They're.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, blushy.
Okay. No gaming this time. No gaming this time. No gaming this time. That's okay.
Come on. No, we got it.
Shake harder. This is. You gotta shake harder. And you have fucking shake.
Oh god. Oh, okay. This is huge.
Come on, Blushy.
Oh.
Blushy.
Come on.
Damn.
Oh my god.
I can't watch.
Oh boy.
Blushy's been last every single round.
That's so stressful.
Oh, Blushy.
I'm going.
Ugh. Now shaking is more important than ever. He's about to shoot. He's about to shoot. He's about to shoot. Keep shaking on him. He's about to shoot.
I'm shaking.
Shake.
You do not stop shaking when he's about to shoot. Let me tell you that. That's advice. That's advice for life. Yes!
Hold on!
The one! The only! Blushy! Let's go!
Wait for it!
3, 2, 1!
This is the one. No, fuck!
I feel like
God damn! How much longer do I have to shake?
I've been there.
My god.
Oh my god, this is the longest dodgeball.
This has been such a long dodgeball. This is incredible. This is your limbo now.
Legacy.
Cursed
a
to
legacy?
Always shake.
Cursed to always shake that ass.
Oh
my god!
Oh! Oh! Come on!
Keep going. Blushy,
One of them has to hit. One of them has to hit.
2, 1.
Oh!
That's baseball! That's a baseball! Well done, Shakers.
We won!
That's our win. I'm considering that my first MCC win. We did it,
everyone.
That was a big effort from us.
It happened. We won.
We need coins. I'm gonna say it.
Coins.
I can't say ass, so I did ace shakers.
So
intense clapping noises. So true.
Intense clapping.
That's so true. That's what was happening.
Hold on. There we go. Okay, that was good. That was some good stuff. Good job, guys.
Amazing to watch.
That was great.
That was such
incredible.
That was intense.
That was incredible.
And also the game was great as well.
Yeah.
You guys were shaking a lot of ass.
We were shaking a lot of ass.
Hey, you know me, Valkyrie.
That was really good. That was really good.
That was so. Oh my god. Well, thanks for playing, guys.
Yeah, thanks for playing.
Holy moly.
That was good. That was
Wait,
good.
we need to have a team photo. We need to have a team photo.
Oh yeah. Meet up in the middle.
In the middle?
Man! I'm here now. Sorry, I was too busy shaking ass to try and help Purple win.
Oh, it's good.
It worked.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm just saying.
What were you doing over there, Jack?
Shaking some ass. Shaking some crazy ass to try and distract Purple. It worked.
I'm loading back up. We'll get a group photo.
We should.
Group photo. We can stand in front of the arena. Best place for it.
Where are we? Where are you?
Let's do it right in front of
so,
him.
like,
I'm putting it back in now.
Yeah, so
Why
just
have I
come
got
over to
a hat?
To the entrance to the arena. It's like at the start of the bridge. Like people are all getting their group photos.
Oh, I got you.
Where is it?
So just like the big
I see you
walkway
both.
up. Yeah.
Right at the top of the walkway, James.
Fire here. Up here, maybe. You can get up the top.
Yeah.
How's it going?
This is good.
Surely we want us in it. Surely we want like the.
Well, that's the thing. So if we just stand in like like I've got it so like I'm looking at myself. So if you just like kind of stand around me, we can get the group photo that way. You can just extract it from here. There we go. So just look this way. Look this way. That like I'm.
Well done, James.
There we go.
We did it.
Give it for the lads.
Woo.
We should start a group Let's Play channel. This is classic Minecraft.
Oh Jesus.
Okay, I took 300 screenshots.
I took a bunch. Well done, man. We did amazing.
Oh God, it's been lovely playing what you got, lads.
Yeah, it was so fun, guys.
Thank
you so much.
As well. I enjoyed this so much. 8th.
We fucking got 8th. I think that's big, honestly.
Honestly, literally, we got 8th. That's all I can say.
Literally.
All right, men. I will catch you soon.
You're good. Have a good night.
You too.
Take care.
Take care.
I hope we're in a
I
same
hope we
team
come,
again,
James. You're so
everyone
right.
Definitely.
I hope we come.
Yes. Good eve. Hello, chat. How are you all? How are we all? I accidentally closed chat, I'll be honest, so that was a really bad time to then ask, how are we, chat? But, give me but a moment. Give me but a moment. Hello! That was a good MCC. I enjoyed that. That was really fun. I liked my little team. They were a fun little time. I liked shaking ass at the end. And you know what? We hit 8th. Everyone's saying, please, Luddy. I'm going to do it real quick just to silence the rumors that I can't do it. There, I Luddied, I think. I don't know. I saw it like once in a video at a wedding, and then that's probably it. Anyway, guys! It has been a great stream. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to smash that like. No, but if you would like to follow, if you are new, I really would appreciate it. Of course, also, as always, you can always subscribe if you haven't already used a sub. Thank you for 120 something subs today, by the way, though. Really appreciate it. City, Xbold Peep, Florence, Tetros, Lilla Dryden, Endercoy, Callan, just as a few people who have subbed. Really, really appreciate it. My camera's dipping. Anyway, guys, I'm out. But of course, guys, I did just drop a new YouTube video. It came out yesterday. I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out. It's a little bit late. It's evolved from VidCon, but it's still just mainly just videos of me going around LA and hanging out with my friends. So if you do like the classic JackManifold vlog style, then you're gonna enjoy it. So please do go and check it out. And as I mentioned in the video, but I'm gonna mention it here as well, I now do have my YouTubes on sale. You can go buy this little guy and this little guy over at youtubes.com. And there's a link if you type !YouTubes in the chat. All my proceeds go to the Sarcoma Foundation, so it's not even like it's a cash grab. I just want you to have a cool thing and be able to give to charity. So I would like to raise as much as possible, so please do go check that out if you have any money to spare. It really, really is appreciated, seriously. Instead of donating to the stream, honestly. Right now, I want to get as many of those sold as possible. Anyways, if you want to follow my other socials, the Raw JackManifold TV, they're all linked on our !Point socials. That's Twitter, YouTube, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and my Discord at discord.gg/JackManifoldTV. As you can hear, my voice is apparently going, so I'm going to end pretty swiftly, but we will look for someone to raid. Let's have a look. Who's live, who we want to raid. Let's raid. Most people are live playing. Oh, Miko just went live with some cool shit. I want to raid Miko. Let's raid Miko. Oh, is Sam still doing subathon? Fuck, I didn't spot that. Shit, I forgot about that. My bad. Well, go show Sam some love as well, but I've sent you over to Miko now, so do go say hi to her as well. She does cool shit. Anyway, let's go Purple. Well done, Purple, for the win. I will see you all soon. Oh, no, I've got a stream tomorrow. Big stream tomorrow, actually. Very big stream. Very, very big stream. I haven't hyped it up. It's a little bit of a surprise one. But yeah, big stream tomorrow. So do keep an eye out for that one. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Have fun. And be sure to check out the new video. !New video in the chat. Once you've said hi to the raid, maybe check out the video if you haven't already. That's all I'm saying. Just on JackManifold TV on YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. Bye, 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 bye.